Okay, ARB, we are recording, we are live, phone lines are open, you're good to go.
Great. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the East Hampton Town Architectural Review Board meeting of today's date, which is December 9th, 2021. I'd like to open up the meeting with the approval of our minutes from our last meeting, which was back on October 28th, 2021. I'd like to ask the board if everyone had a chance to review the meeting and if I can get a approval on the meetings, Esperanza.
Yes, and I approve it. Just a revision. I think it was 27th of October meeting, or did I just write that down wrong?
No, I have October 28th.
Okay,
I think it's the 28th. It says 28.
you're right. Okay, second the minutes.
Okay, all in favor, board?
Aye.
Aye.
First item on the agenda, which is under Historic District and Landmarks, is Wesley Golby, tax map number 300-32-6-4.1, 136 Benson Drive in Montauk. And Matt, we'd be looking for Joel Halsey if he's going to join us today.
Yes, unmuting last four digits of 0031.
Hi, this is Joel Halsey.
Hey, Joel, welcome. Let me just read into the record what this is for. This is a modification to an application that was approved through many different resolutions. 2017, there was one for 2019 where they changed the size of the pool. The 2017 was for a patio. There was a, excuse me for 1 second, a pergola, a pool, and there was an existing shed on the property that needed to be moved out of the wetlands. And when they moved it, instead of it being 100 feet from the wetlands, it was 85 feet. And it needed to go to ZBA for a variance, which I believe was approved. And they're back before us to modify the shed because it wasn't originally on the application. Do I have that right, Joel?
That is correct. Now the shed is right next to the pool, and we want to get it all cleaned up so we can go for the building permit and the CO.
Right, because originally the shed was not listed on the resolution because it was existing. So,
Correct.
Eric, if you could just show my picture that I took of the existing little shed that sits by the pool. The reason why this house is on the Historic District and Landmark is because although it's on Benson, which actually runs parallel to DeForest, which is south of it, it's a property in between Benson and DeForest, and the backyard, I believe, is part of the Historic Association District, so that's why it's before us, even though this is not a historic home, but it is in the district. So there's the little shed, and the location is now on the updated survey. So I would like to make a motion to approve the modification to add the small shed in the backyard located on the updated survey dated November 2nd, 2021. Can I get a second on that? Chip?
Yes.
All in favor? Esperanza?
Aye.
And Diane?
Aye.
And Jonathan?
Aye.
Okay, is that what you needed, Joel?
That's everything. That's everything. Thank you very much.
Excellent, good to go. Thank you.
Have a great evening.
Have a nice
Thank
holiday.
you. Bye-bye. You too.
Agricultural overlay, 55 Wainscott Hollow LLC, tax map number 300-19601-21, 49 Wainscott Hollow Road in Wainscott. And Esperanza is going to read into the record what the application is for, but I guess we're looking for somebody, Matt, in the meantime, from JC Construction.
They are already in. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, could you identify yourself for the record, please?
He's still connecting to audio, I
Yeah,
see.
Benjamin, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. Esperanza is going to read into record what the application is for.
So this is an application for this is an existing, it's in construction residence, and the application is for the addition of a second floor deck at the rear elevation above the garage, adding French door to living room under the covered porch at the rear elevation, adding a window to the pantry under the covered porch at the rear elevation, and adding solar panels. Also, I believe it's only on the rear elevation, or on that side of the roof. They're changing the orientation of the swimming pool, which does not come under our purview, and they're adding a sunken tennis court, which we would only have to review whatever fencing is involved that is above 4 feet. Just to also specify, the second floor deck is 100, it's nearly 200 square feet, 199 and a half square feet. And it is located, if you can see the garage on the survey here, is on the right-hand side of the northeast side of the structure, and where the garage is, and then there's a little piece of roof right south of that is now going to be, instead of just roof, is going to be the terrace.
Maybe pull up the elevations and go and walk through each one again and point out where they are located so the board can get an idea of how this is playing out.
Yes, and there's I think also one in particular that has a side by side of what was originally proposed and then what is being proposed now. And just a note, these additions and changes have already been framed out. So you can actually, with my photographs that I've taken of the property, you can appreciate these changes. This is the front of the house. Okay, so that's just regarding the orientation of the pool.
Do you want the elevation plans?
Yes.
Yeah, if you could find that, that would be.
The most recent ones. It's
That one said 49.
And that file, Eric, did not include. Yeah, there it is.
This is it. Yeah, thank you, Eric. Okay, so you can see the solar panel addition on the roof in the center part of the residence. And then what I was referring to about the terrace on the right-hand side was originally 3 windows similar in size to the ones that are just below there. So now they're adding the French doors plus a glass panel on each side of those French doors, similar to what they have on the lower level and also on the central part of the house where there's another already roof deck. And then the little pantry window is on the lower level underneath the covered porch. And then where it's demarcated behind the second post from the left on the covered porch, that was originally a proposed fireplace, and they're replacing that fireplace with this additional French door. I think there's another elevation that has the side-by-side. Oh, here's the view from the east.
Oh, can you go back to that, Eric?
Yeah, please. That's a good one.
And to your point, Esperanza, where you're discussing, now I understand how that deck is being able to come off of that original wall frame. They did, remember our conversation just before we went live?
Yeah. And I mean, it does add, I think what it does is also, it continues the line of the other roof deck. So they did add that additional square footage, but it doesn't take any space from the inside. Right. It didn't change the footprint, in other words.
Right.
Yeah. And then if there's another one that's a side-by-side, I think, and it actually was a color rendering. That's the pool house. It might be in another file. Here it is. Yep, that's it. So up on the left is the original proposal. And then the upper right is the new proposal.
And what you're looking at down underneath is the area in the square from the left where it's just that sort of main part of the house with the solar. Then you can see the solar panels.
Yes. And the only other addition there is also that they added a fourth column to provide symmetry to that porch, covered porch.
The first floor patio, right?
Yeah. So I just want to go over, and I don't think, Benjamin, that you were on any of these original discussions and reviews of this property, but we went over extensively because of the significant scale of this structure. There was a lot of discussion and refinement of the design. And in particular, there was a lot of discussion also of the amount of glazing. And so the fact that now we are looking at adding more window expanse, which is very exposed and facing the ag view, is not something that is favorable.
Oh, is that a question to me, or
I'm just making
do
the
you
comment.
want me to respond? Certainly, I understand that I have taken on this project since it was originally approved and had been working with the owner and the builder to work through these proposed revisions, and certainly understand that light exposure, particularly nighttime, sort of light spillage, is of concern. If you look at the total square footage of glass of originally approved versus what we're proposing here, and look at the percentage variation, it's fairly small.
Small. Benjamin, how small?
I think we're talking about, if you take the square footage of glass or transmittable area, I believe we're talking about less than 5% from what
increase
proposed. Less than a 5% increase. And certainly, if there's any further intervention that could, that the board would request in terms of interior shades or drapes, and I know that might be beyond your purview, or something that we could further do, or I've also on other projects in Sagaponic used various film applications to the glazing, such that we can limit the visible light transmittance, sort of nighttime transmittance. And I think the main point was that we're sensitive to that concern and dynamic, and willing to work with you. And that being said, feel that the majority of these changes are we're not requesting additional square footage or GFA or additional footprint, and that we've endeavored to make the changes, the intent being that it's in keeping with the original intent of the design.
May I make a comment, please? I think what the problem for me with this is that the amount of time the board took to work with Mr. Coley and his attorney on trying to get this to fit in the area, and that the board felt comfortable, although, you know, the right now it framed out, it is very much bigger than I thought it would, with regards to taking up that property, that lot. So in real life and in real time, it looks much bigger than I think I had anticipated the home to present on that ag property and the overlay. And the fact that new plans, look, I understand that as you're going through, you know, the design, the building process, that, excuse me for 1 second. That things, you know, change, and, you know, all of a sudden you see something you like better and the owner decides they don't want the fireplace underneath, you know, the second story deck, and they want to put a sliding glass, another door there. You know, I have no problem with that. I have no problem with the extra column, the pantry window, the solar panels. But what I'm struggling with is knowing how much effort went into this, that someone responsible for this property and this, you know, application before the board didn't think to come to us before they started framing out. You would have had to do new drawings and everything else, and that this becomes then like an after fact, so that, you know, it puts the board in a position where, you know, we become the bad guy. Because if we don't think that this is appropriate, we wouldn't have probably, we could pull the board, but I don't think we would have approved this to begin with the original plans. And now it's all framed out, and you're back to us to say, approve this. It's only 5% more, you know, light.
Sure.
And I like Esperanza to show one of the houses in the area, what it looks like, and just when there is light emitting. If Eric, if you can find Esperanza's photo, and Esperanza, if you could like just explain where the house is and the size of the house.
Right. Yes. I mean, this is a very sensitive area. It's a subdivision of a very large area in Wainscott on Hollow Road, and this is one of, I believe it's 6 or 7 actual lots. This is one of the larger lots, and, you know, truth is, I echo what Betsy just said. I think we were all in our discussions originally reviewing this, were really contemplating how this would appear in mass and scale in comparison to what surrounds this, especially because it's such an open space. And as she says, now that it's built, it's even more imposing. But the reason why I really don't have much objection to the additional glazing in the in the ground level, because it's under the covered porch in particular. But the upper story it not only adds that huge expanse of glass, but then you also have the light fixtures, which are, you know, you have to have, or at least one. And so it also, I don't know, it's what Betsy has said. It's disconcerting that we go there and it's already framed out. So
yeah, I kind of respond.
Sorry, the property that it's not the blue outline, it's actually the second from Hollow Road. So it's ending 121.
Right there.
Yeah. So you can appreciate also that you have this very substantial residence, and then you're going to have 3 others next to it. And
One
all
on
of
the
those
corner.
may have the same amount of glazing or not. I mean, this is there's going to be that fireball example that Eric just put of the view over this field. It's right there on this
Sure.
ag reserve. It's something we were trying to avoid in our original review, and here you are before us trying to add more.
And I think because of the fact where it's facing is really the problem, because when you're coming, up Wainscott Hollow, all of these back, south-facing elevations are going to be facing the road. The old farmhouse was moved all the way down to the south corner, so that's, it's kind of not like there to sort of break up the monotony of all these very oversized, more modern houses. And then to have all this extra lighting, it just, I struggle with this.
Benjamin, why did you go ahead and build before you came to us and asked permission? And you're coming to us to ask forgiveness. Why didn't you think about this when you made the changes and started hammering?
But that was not of my direction. I've taken over as architect of record for this project in recent months, and as working on this, agreed with the owner and the project team that it needed the application needed to be amended as soon as possible, and. On that issue, I would say that I understand the pressure that the board might feel being that it's built, but everyone, I would like to, in one sense, take that off the table, or understand that is an undue pressure, and thus I wouldn't ask the board to feel obligated simply because it has been built. That is the current state of things, and any project team that finds themselves in that position should necessarily understand that they've done so at risk. But that's sort of fairness in both directions. I would not ask of special permission because it has been framed already, and in the same regard would not ask you to count that against us.
The same owner who applied initially, who's applying now, is it the same owner?
Yes.
So ultimately, the owner bears responsibility for this. You may be a new agent on the scene. Jeffrey Collet was with us in the beginning, but someone has to bear responsibility for this. And if it's ultimately the owner, because the players under the owner have changed, then that's where the responsibility lies, in my view.
Sure.
You can't start playing with all these checkers and trying to fake us out here.
I'm agreeing with you that's
okay. I sent you a card. I feel bad that you just happened upon this project.
Yeah. I do think with everything we've done, we've sought to design in keeping with what we understand to be the desires of the board. One of the points I discussed with the owner as we're going through this is that, and it was I think we had an awareness of the concern about light spillage in certain regard, and if you look at the 3D and particularly the angle from across the road, in one sense, without the deck, previously without that roof deck, putting aside the windows and doors for a second, just the configuration of the massing, without the roof deck, the adjacent roof plane essentially just continued over that area of the roof deck. And while it's quite minimal, just in terms of the mask, it does have with the roof, with a flat portion coming out and the railing coming up, provides some minimal amount of screening for what is the minimal amount of area of glass when viewed from the ground, from not just the corner of the property, but from sort of across the way and the view as you'd be coming up the road. So it's
We find that really at night not to make any difference. Maybe
Sure.
if you're standing down underneath and you're, at the house and you look up and the railing might therefore block a little light. But when
Yeah.
you're standing across the field or you're driving past it on the road,
Sure.
that fades away.
Would it-
Eric, if you could just pull up, the elevation, not the color rendering of the most recent that we had up before. So while we're discussing this, the board can see, because I want to make one point.
While they're bringing it up, if I might ask or just point out that it seems like the focus of the discussion or the specific concern here is the light spillage in terms of the window, the total glazed area, the windows in that area.
It's the extra glazing that was, that wasn't approved. And,
Yeah, so-
it's more, structural because the deck comes out further than, when it wasn't there. So if you could look at the upper left-hand corner, which is what we originally approved, and if you can look then at the elevation that the drawings, Eric, I wish we could do the side by side, but we can't. I want to make a point that I find opening up that whole section in this guest, suite wing. It becomes unharmonious because on the original you had on the left side the smaller windows than the main part of the house that had the decking, and then the other above the garage facing south had the small windows, and there felt like there was a harmonious balance there. And now I just feel like it looks sort of lopsided, like it's just very heavy to the center and the right, and it's light. So I know that that's not the consideration on an ag overlay, but I just think that this was, something that I don't think the board would have approved if it was presented to them in the beginning. But I want to get Diane and Jonathan's input on this before we try to make some kind of resolution here. Jonathan?
Well, first of all, I have a couple questions. Behind the balcony, what is that? A bedroom situation?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. It's a bedroom suite.
And you need to have both those lights that are hanging out outside. Is that what they are, lights?
Those are exterior sconces. No, they're not both required. And if need be, that would be, I think, at least one concession that we could easily make to lose one of those light fixtures, so as to minimize the amount of that, and even if it had to be like on a timer to ensure that it. I mean, it's all really required by code in an exterior door for the egress and
Yeah. All right. So, have you thought of since you're still framing this out, you could put in a pocket shutter system?
Sure. Yeah.
Right in front of those windows, so that the shutter can go right across it at nighttime.
Yep.
Someone has to pull it across, Jonathan.
Sorry.
I know
Yeah.
somebody's got to pull it across, but
Who's that going to be?
Wandering around naked in their place either. So.
Well, and I'll point out that the terrace actually, if you look west, where the other larger roof deck is, that is the master bath. So you're actually looking right into that. There's a window there. So I kind of find this very inconvenient, and I just wonder why it wasn't explored also. If you did want to add the French doors there, why not just add French doors without the additional side windows?
Better view.
Yeah.
Diane?
Oh, well, all right.
Wait, I'm sorry, Jonathan. I thought you were finished.
All right, no, I was just listening.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the chimney thing now, and I'm not sure, is that where the little, it's just the red lines go around that one window? It used to be a chimney?
Yes.
Yeah. And was that the chimney for the inside or the outside?
There was I believe originally a back-to-back fireplace, but
Back-to-back fireplace.
the chimney mast was expressed on the back side there,
Yeah.
and it previously didn't have that column there, which was particularly for a design that's I think more on the traditional side of things, was a bit odd to not have that symmetry. And I think this makes it
Yeah. So what
classical arrangement.
Yeah.
And then we made the railings above to have the posts align with the symmetrical.
Right.
columns
Yeah.
below.
That's a good idea. What's behind there? A living room?
Yeah, that's probably like the main living area in there.
Yeah. Don't they need a wall to put art on or something like that?
They have a fair bit of wall space throughout.
Jonathan, can we focus on what the application is for?
No, it's for these windows. I'm trying to like pare it down a teeny bit. That's all. Right. Okay, go ahead.
Diane?
Yeah, I'm wondering, are these look like the, I don't know, the old-fashioned solar panels? Are they going to be
they're
there's so many new applications.
No, that's certainly like state of the art standard, supplied by Green Logic, a local, the sort of the go-to local.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a 2D.
It's a great mass of them. It's another thing that is.
It's essentially, we need these to meet the HERS rating requirement for the town, and which is common of most major projects here. We've endeavored to locate them in between, sort of nestled between these two gables, to minimize the visibility from the road. But they're essentially part and parcel of almost every major new residential, and so I
understand, but
we've done our best to incorporate into the project that had the least visible impact, if that makes sense.
Well, it's quite massive.
They are. I mean, there are 26 of them at 20 square foot each. So,
yeah,
but
it's massive.
I'm all for the
Massive
solar
glare.
power.
I mean, the other option is to have a ground array, like on the site. I'm not which I think is more worse. Just they are they're fairly low profile these days. We try to keep them as close to the plane of the roof as possible.
Do they present more as a dark black color on the roof, or do they present more light?
Yeah, no, they appear more of a dark black color. Yeah, here they're shown in white because of just the nature of the line drawing. But if you flip to the rendering, it's at least a better, semi-photorealistic. There, it's also looking fairly light just because the angle of the sun and the rendering. But it's like the typical solar panel. When you get up close, it has a little bit of iridescence, but it looks, it's black, almost slate black.
Well, that's why I was asking, because on the color photorealistic rendering, they appear to be more like a pale silver.
Yeah. Apologies for not. I could give you a close up of it, more of a straight on look, but I mean, if you're from, I would assume the board has seen many of these recently.
I need to tighten this up. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this. Does anybody have any issues with the dark solar panels as presented?
No.
Okay.
No.
Does anybody have an issue with swapping out the exterior fireplace and replacing it with another exterior door so there's 3 doors? Or do you feel that, to Jonathan's point, maybe not have another door there? Anybody want to comment on that? If they have an issue with it, if they're in agreement and it's okay, we'll keep moving. No, everybody's all right? The doors and that extra post, which is fine, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The little pantry window underneath the second story decking to the right of those 3 doors, that's an addition. That wasn't there originally. Okay. So we have no problem with the solar panels. We have no problem with the fireplace being replaced with the French door. And we have no problem with the pantry window. And I just don't want to forget about the tennis court fencing when we get through this other one. So I'm going to pull the board on the second story deck above the garage as presented. But you know what, Esperanza? Let's see if we can get Eric to pull that one profile image that we found.
It was an elevation?
Yeah.
From the east?
Yeah, it's from the east. It's labeled west.
Right. This is where I wanted to actually look at again, Benjamin, because I'm not quite understanding. Oh, I guess the post there is for the other roof deck. But
yeah, if you zoom in on that area, if you can.
Okay. It was confusing for a moment. I thought it was being bumped out.
So it's only on the roof. It doesn't extend out over the house.
Yeah. Right. That's what I thought, but I just confused by that.
Pull the page up so you can see that area.
Yeah, scroll that up,
Below.
Eric, please.
There you go.
There you go. Okay, so what you're seeing to the left is the main terrace that where we added the column.
Right.
And so that's what you're seeing beyond that. And then the portion that's bubbled is the portion and what you see beyond it, that roof line, that's the roof line that would have extended over this portion of deck. So we basically sort of cut that roof back but we endeavored to align the top of decking to match the same fascia details, to use the same railing, so that it's in keeping with that language.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I really find the original design cleaner, frankly, also from this angle as well. But
so I'm going to pull the board, and the question is, if this were to be taken to vote tonight, would you approve this close to 200 square foot second story additional deck with the sliding glass windows and the sliding glass doors and the side doors? So I'll start with Esperanza.
No.
Chip?
This is the part that's already been framed out?
Yes.
Then my answer is no.
All of it has been framed out.
Okay, then my answer is no.
Diane?
I agree with Chip and Esperanza.
Jonathan?
No.
Well, I don't think it looks bad. It's really unfortunate that that it's all kind of built. That's the biggest problem here. Yeah.
Well, the deck isn't built. It's just the doors are framed out, so they would have to just do new framing on that side of that elevation.
Well,
nothing else has changed.
The roof has been taken off. It's all been taken off and waterproofed.
Yeah. Can I make a suggestion or request or comment of sort? Would it be possible to break this issue or item into essentially 2 items? One is the consideration of the roof deck and railing, and one is the consideration of the change to the in fenestration. Because I think that a lot of the conversation was based around the light transmittance in the windows versus doors, which in a certain sense could be separated on its own track of consideration. And to say that if we came up with an intervention like shutters or a revision that otherwise addressed the light spillage, would that make a difference to any of the board members? Would the deck be more palatable if it weren't for the increase in glazed area?
Well, what we can do, Benjamin, is we can table this and you can go back to the drawing board and of course, sure, come back and say, this is another option. It gives us, it gives us the opportunity to afford the owner to have this outdoor decking. But, the concern is, the amount of extra light and the house being as large as it is, it's going to be a lot of light coming out of that 7,400 square foot house.
Sure.
So we could table it, but let's clear up.
Can I make one comment then?
Sure. Yep.
One thing, I guess I shouldn't, anyway, we can return half of the roof and have it enclosed.
Jonathan, we don't need to design this for them.
All right.
Okay? All right. So,
but to interpret the intent of Jonathan's statement that when we come back for a resubmittal on this, that one of the possible revisions that might be more favorable to the board would be to decrease the area of proposed decking. That would be one way to ameliorate the.
You could come back with a few different ideas, and we'd be happy to work with you on those.
Okay. Excellent.
All right, because that's what you do, and that's what we do, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So now there is a sunken tennis court, which doesn't come under our purview because it's below grade. But you will have a fencing. Is there a height listed on the application, Esperanza, of what the fencing is?
No.
Okay. How tall above ground is the tennis court fencing going to be?
It would be 42 inches above existing grade, or or final grade. There's not much proposed regrading of the topography in that area other than the sinking of the tennis court. So it would be 3.5 feet above grade.
David, would that come under our purview?
You said it's 42 feet above grade. Sorry, 42 inches above grade.
42 inches, and I believe the threshold is 48 inches. Correct?
Right, because it's a sunken tennis court.
So it sounds like it's 6 inches below, right?
Yeah, that was the intent. Yep.
Yeah. So no.
Yeah.
So we don't have to include that in our consideration or when we do the resolution.
Right.
But just to let you know, Benjamin, if for any reason that fencing is going to be above 4 feet, you need ARB approval.
Roger
and
that.
The other thing
Understood.
is when, I don't know if this will end up being part of, your job, but to let the owners know any other fencing on the property, gates, anything above 4 feet, they need to come back. Any structures, anything over 4 feet, they need to come back and get ARB approval. Okay?
Understood. Thank you.
All right, so we'll table this, and we have one meeting left this year, which is December 23rd, but that agenda has been closed as of this afternoon because we were basically off because of holidays in November. So our next meeting, I believe, and Julie, you'll confirm this with me, is January 13th. Julie?
That's right, I think.
I'm sorry?
Is our next meeting after?
Yes, Betsy, it's January 13th. It's January 13th.
Yes.
Right. So as soon as you can get plans in would be better because, again, it's very possible that we'll close early too. So as soon as you get plans, we'll put you back on for the following meeting if we can get you on. Okay?
Great. Thank you.
Right,
Much
good.
appreciated.
Okay. Thank you, Benjamin.
Thank you for your time, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Cheers.
Okay. Kenneth Grant, 15 Waynescott Hollow Road, tax map number 300-196-1-8.10 in Waynescott. And we would be looking for possibly Regina McLennan.
Yes, she should be in. We're just waiting for audio.
Esperanza, make a note on that last one when they come back, just to, keep in mind about the light fixtures on the back side of that.
Yes.
Okay.
Is Regina in?
I am.
Hi. Esperanza's going to read into the record what the application is for.
Okay.
Hi, Regina. This is an application seeking approval of an existing tennis court fence.
Correct.
It is stated on the application that fence is made of black vinyl mesh, and the maximum height is 10 feet, and the total length is 320 feet. I visited the property and measured, and I noted that it was a maximum of 8 feet in height.
The fence itself. It was funny because when I looked at the Century Tennis who installed it,
right, it said 10
their
feet.
instruction was 10 feet, and when I looked at the gate, it was 4.
Right,
So
and then there are gates, right, that are lower. Yeah. But I measured the highest point, and I got 8 feet.
Yeah, I thought it was 8 too. I don't know why they said 10 on the paperwork.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, I figured you'd gone by what it said on the paperwork also, but
Yes.
so I took some photographs. I think, obviously it needs the fencing, and I think the only suggestion or concern that we might have, and I would ask the rest of the board, is because this is faces. Are there other photos I took? I don't remember taking this one.
Yeah, I had several on the zip drive, I think.
Oh, these are yours. Okay.
Yeah, I tried to take it from every side and get the 2 gates.
Thank you. So, and this again, this
go
is
through all the pictures.
Yeah, let's go through all the pictures. This is ag overlay. This is the front of the house. I wanted you to get a sense of it. It's got a whole section of scenic easement right at the front. It's very open. And then through the pedestrian gate there on the right is where you go into the rear yard, and the tennis court is right there. And you can hardly see the what I think is a chain link fence, because it kind of melts into the hedge there, but there it is. Right next door to the right here is sort of a farm-like residence, and behind this, where you see the white fencing, that's a horse farm, I believe. So again, this is all within the agricultural overlay district. Right. So I think what we were sort of going to ask you about was if there was any consideration of additional screening of this fence, either right next to it in the parts
on the right.
Sorry?
On the right side?
In any part that would, face a neighbor that was sort of a sensitive area. And I'm not saying you have to put like a row of arborvitaes, but just because of the horse farm in the back and then the farm.
Yeah, there is a privet hedge behind the tennis court.
Right, but does that remain green?
There's a privet hedge on the left-hand property side.
Right.
Well,
the only side that is visible, maybe from the neighbors, is by the driveway next door.
Right. Which only has a 4-foot
we could
wire
plant
fence.
a couple of bushes in there.
Yeah, I mean, that 4-foot wire fence, by the way, is falling over, so you might take a look at that.
Yeah, I'll have the landscaper check that out.
It's possible it's the neighbor's fence.
No, it's on this property. I'm fairly certain they need a pool fence. So
the pool fence, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to make one comment, because my initial thought when I went back there is, even now, there still are, most of the leaves on the privet. You can still see the fencing, and the white fencing through it. And once the winter comes and, the late winter, privet is not a perennial, and it's going to lose the leaves. And so if anybody's in that back area on that sort of horse corral, they're looking at a 8-foot, metal vinyl tennis court. Black. It's just, it's just very harsh feeling. It's very big, for the property. It's not like there's a lot of space between the back of the tennis fencing and where the privet is. So my initial thought was, because over on the left-hand side, there's some arborvitaes or some type of evergreen, fairly stately trees, that block in between that neighbor, which is not a farm, where the one on the right is a farm, that maybe that they put in some kind of nice, evergreen landscaping in front of the privet and sort of scoop it around to the right where the farm is, where that falling down fence is. That would have been my suggestion. I don't know if the board feels the same.
Right. That's on the right side when you're pulling in the driveway. So the south side of the property.
Right. Towards the back where the tennis court is.
Okay.
So where the tennis court faces that back area, their neighbor, which is an actual farm. That, you would bring your screening, around the corner so that they're not looking at the tennis court either.
I think that's what,
and also too, the bang, bang, bang of the balls, maybe it would mitigate some of the noise in their backyard.
Yeah, I think that's why he installed the privet to begin with.
Right, but you don't have it on the south side.
Correct.
I mean, I just think visually, if this were my tennis court, I would want to screen that chain link fence somehow.
Even if you did it along the back, so when you're looking, you can still look in from the house, you can still look into the tennis court, but then there's that sort of break, from the seeing through the black vinyl metal fence. Chip, do you have any comment on this?
I know that area well. I think a friend of mine lives next door. I think the more screening, the better on this. It's all out in the open.
Yeah. Diane?
I agree.
And Jonathan?
Yeah, I think a screening along where that scenic easement is would be good. Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you this, Regina.
Yeah.
Why don't we table this and you come back to us with some kind of, landscaping screening plan to sort of mitigate this in the south and the east area around that tennis court.
Okay, well, I will definitely talk to the owner and we'll figure out how to screen it more thick so you don't see the fences much.
Yeah, just sort of, soften it up a little bit.
I mean, you barely see the fence, when I walk on the property. I don't even notice it.
What
really,
fence?
I don't know. I've never seen I've never gone on the other side of the privet.
Well, we were looking at photos, and through the privet, you can see the white sort of corral fencing.
What white corral fencing? Oh, like
behind the privet.
The property behind. Okay,
Yeah.
I got it.
Okay.
I'm like, white fencing. Okay, so the horse farm behind, you can see the corral. Okay.
Right. And I'm sure you guys like looking at they like looking at the corral, but I don't think the corral likes looking at a tennis court fence.
Yeah, and I think it's just
Is that from the horse perspective?
Is that a what?
From a horse
perspective?
It's just a visual and a sound buffer, I think is necessary.
Like more like an arborvitae or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't
if you weren't on an agricultural piece of land where you're budding ag on either side of you and in the back, this wouldn't be an issue. It would probably be, have your 8-foot thing, but we're sensitive to the farmland and the ag feel of the area.
Yeah, I understand that.
Okay, great. All right, so we're going to table it. The next meeting's not going to happen because we're already filled up. So back, as soon as you get something in, we'll have our meetings in January. Okay.
Okay. So call you when I've got some kind of landscape.
As soon as you've got something to hand in, just bring it in.
Okay. All right. You got it.
They'll put you on the agenda that they can get you on the next one. Okay.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Moving on to change to commercial, Verizon at 106 Stephen Hans Path, a modification, tax map number 300-193-2-4, Stephen Hans Path. I don't know if anybody's on for the Amato Law Group, Dennis Vista possibly.
Denise
Vista. I'm sorry, the lighting in here is not great. So we'll wait for her to join us, and then Jonathan, you can read into the record what this is for. Tell us what you got.
Okay, you're all set.
I don't know if anybody's on for,
All right. Hello.
Excuse me. I believe Diane Benson, you're gonna have to mute your device, please, because you're echoing.
Me? Okay.
No, not you. Sorry.
Denise.
it might be Denise's people in her office. Denise, can you
Denise
hear us?
Vista, please mute your device.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that was me. I'm the culprit. Can you hear me?
No problem. Go ahead.
Yep.
Okay, so this is a review of the the Verizon tower, which we approved last time, or earlier this year at least. And what we approved was a 15 kilowatt generator and a 250 gallon tank of propane, and exchange them out. Replace them with a 50 kilowatt propane generator and a 500 gallon propane tank. So these are larger tank and larger generator. Physically, it will go on a slightly larger concrete pad, but it's all within the original boundaries and framework of the program that we approved, which is within an existing fence, wire fence. So that's it.
So do you have any issues with this, Jonathan?
No, I think it's a change, but a minor change, and no one will ever see it.
Okay. All right. You took a picture though, right? Did you put that up?
I did take a picture, but it's from the distance, so the view.
That's right. But this way the people watching and the board members can see.
I see. Yeah. Well, we have a picture from last time.
Eric, there should be one, and then we'll move to make a motion. There you go. It looks bigger in person.
It looks bigger in person, but you can see what we're talking about. All the equipment is just below the horizon there, where those posts are. So
sure. Let me just say though, this is the temporary pole.
That's the temporary pole?
Yeah, so we put that up, quite a few months ago. It was before the summer season. We've been waiting to secure all the approvals and the lease agreements, et cetera, environmental with the town. So those antennas that you see, you won't see that with the new pole. They'll be completely concealed within.
Right, I remember it was a monopole.
It won't have that crown up there. It'll just be a continuous pole without anything on it?
Yes,
right.
Correct.
Okay,
that's what we reviewed.
Yeah. I was surprised to see that stuff up there, yeah.
Looks like Seattle. Jonathan, when we first looked at this application, there's a set of gates that must be right at the forefront of this photo. I drive by there and they look like chain link gates. Didn't we talk about farm style gates there a long time ago when it first came up?
I don't remember that.
Yes, we did.
I do. I remember that.
Yeah.
And certainly there are no farm gates there. I noticed it the other day.
I am shooting the photograph through the gate.
And it's a
That's
chain
where the
link
gate
fence?
is.
Yeah, it's a chain link gate.
Okay. Julie, hi. Can you unmute yourself?
Hi.
Hi. Could you do us a favor? When you have a chance, can you pull the old file and see if you can come up with the original resolution that would have said if there was a mention of the type of gate that we requested or required?
I have the resolution.
Here's the resolution right here.
Yeah, and I appeared at the last hearing. There was never, at least, there wasn't a discussion regarding a gate because this is town-owned property. So we're putting up a fence around the equipment compound, which would be further within the property.
Yeah.
So if there's a gate that you're talking about at the forefront of this picture, then that would be, that's owned by the town.
Yeah. See, that gate is not mentioned in the.
I remember the conversation. It's very possible it never, became.
Never happened? Yeah, could be.
Okay.
I mean, there was talk about, there was a shed there that we asked about and that we wanted removed, and we were told it was the town shed, so I remember that part. But I thought there was some specific stuff about the gate.
Yeah, there might be.
It's Eric. I'm going to screen share the resolution. I don't see a condition about the gate, to be honest.
There's nothing there.
Now.
Okay, maybe it was a discussion that never went anywhere. Okay.
Yeah. Eric, let me ask you a question. Is there like some type of like state or county or whoever, all this comes under jurisdiction, that there has to be a specific type of fencing around the property?
I don't think so, but the property is also used as a yard, a material storage yard by the town. And technically, the applicants are only, responsible and beholden to their lease area. They lease the equipment area and compound from the town. So technically, if you have a gate that's at the entrance to the site, it's really not something that, contractually, the applicants have any control over. It's solely the control of the town of East Hampton.
Okay. And because there's other things stored on the property, is that why they would want something more industrial, like a chain link fence on that?
Most likely.
For safety purposes or security?
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So Jonathan, why don't you go ahead and approve this modification?
Okay. I move that we approve the changes for the generator and the propane tank for this project.
Okay, can I get a second on that, Diane?
Yes, second.
And all in favor, Chip?
Yes.
Esperanza?
Aye.
And Betsy, aye. Okay, you're good to go. Thanks.
Great. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Happy holidays.
You too. Rita Cantina, tax map number 300-38-4-2, 28 Maidstone Park Road, East Hampton. Chip, did somebody say they would be calling in?
Yes.
Okay, and who would
The
that be?
chef owner.
And what's his name?
I don't remember. Mike
Miller, Eric or Mark?
Yeah, Eric Miller. Yes.
I'm trying to get them connected right now.
Great, thank you.
We ready, Diane?
Yeah, but I'm fine.
Hello.
Yeah, hi, Eric. We're going to just go over the application for a second, and then we'll give you a chance to speak.
Okay, my brother Mark Miller is also getting into the meeting now. Nothing's happening on mine. He wasn't. Do you see him there to invite him in?
I got it. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, I'm going. Okay, Mark, I'm hanging up on you. Okay. Okay, hi, everybody.
Hi, Eric.
Hey, everybody.
You look alike.
Don't tell our parents that.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay, so this application is for the former site of Michael's Restaurant in Springs. It is now called Rita Cantina. It is a pre-existing non-conforming commercial use in a residential neighborhood. I just need to tell the board that there are multiple outstanding code violations on this property. It's own neighborhood business, but it's in a residential neighborhood. Okay.
Yes.
There's several requests here, so we're going to take them one at a time. The applicant is requesting to install a steel frame with vinyl glass enclosure at the front door of the restaurant. Typically, these are put up in the cold weather to keep the cold away from the front door. An overriding issue is that the front steps and the base for the front porch are in the town right-of-way. And per my discussion with David McMaster, these are not on the owner's property. So in terms of erecting this structure, it's not something we're going to deal with. The building department has taken the lead on this aspect of this application, and accordingly, we are not going to comment on it.
Okay, thank you.
The second request is to install an awning with roll-down curtain sides on the back side of the building at the back door of the restaurant. Part of this porch is half a foot in the right of way also. While there are specs for the awning and the sides, there are no dimensions indicated or colors provided, or no samples in terms of what this awning is going to be made of and what it's going to look like. I'd like to let Eric and his brother speak about this, but I really have no details on it except the specs from the manufacturer.
Did you not see the picture of the rendering of it?
It's not a picture we need. We need dimensions. We need samples of what it's going to be made of. A picture doesn't really work.
Got it.
Well, let's look at the picture that they submitted so that the board can understand what we're talking about.
Sure.
And then also too, because I was trying to figure out this morning what that was. The quote, which is number 4687, design and fabricate 3 hand rolled up curtains. That's for this back awning, correct?
That's for the back, right? So when we're on this, so that's the back porch, and there's this awning rendering of it superimposed on the back of the building.
Is that what it's going to look like?
Yes, and I think the dimensions are in the Mills quotation. I believe.
I read it a couple times. I didn't find them.
I don't see it either. We would almost need like a spec sheet with this drawn out and, like
sure,
an engineered rendering of what this, the dimensions are and the framing.
Understood.
Okay. But is that, and so then the 3 sides of the vinyl roll from underneath down to the top railing of the.
It would roll from the top down like a nautical awning on a boat, and then it would get rolled and snapped at the top, and then in inclement weather we would be able to drop them down.
And it would go to the ground or the top of the railing.
I'll get you further. I don't have an answer. I would just be. I would have to get that answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't we table this and get the answer and get the specification drawings? Does anybody have a problem with them moving forward with that with regards to putting an awning over that back door? That they should
I don't, except half a foot of that back porch is in the right of way.
Meaning you're okay with it or not?
Well, I don't think half a foot of your awning should be in the town right away. It has to be set back half a foot. That's per the survey you gave me.
Set back a half a foot from the railing at the end, because the railing therefore is in the right of way.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Set back 6 inches from steps, basically, right?
Right.
Okay.
All right, and then the other thing which would fall under our purview under change to commercial is that orange stripe on the front of the building. Anytime you make any type of paint color change or add anything decorative to the building, it comes under our purview. So, Chip, do you have any feelings on that? Let's take a picture of the front facade, a photograph of the building so everybody can see. So one that comes out a little bit more, that shows the entire facade. We saw them today in the preview meeting.
Nice picture, Eric.
That's the front. That may be our best picture, Diane, the one with the stripe.
No, there was another one. We saw it today. It shows the big oval.
Okay.
I'll look, but this is all I see
think
right now.
they're your the pictures, Chip.
They're in, it's in the signage file, Eric.
Oh, well, that'll be next. We'll see it in a second, because I'm about to do the second part of this, yes.
Okay. All right. So we'll discuss that when we have the pictures, but that will come under your change to commercial application. All right. So for now, we're tabling that. Okay.
Okay.
And then when you have all your information, you can bring it in.
There it is.
Wow. There you go.
All right, let's talk about it now under this application. Okay, so they added this orange stripe, which is obviously their brand color for the restaurant. I find it to look very sort of fast food looking. And I'm not in favor of this. Does anybody, Chip, you want to speak to it?
Yeah, I mean, it's lost its quaintness that it used to have. I'm not a fan of the stripe. I think the building is prettier if it was just all one color. Yes.
Diane?
Yeah, I agree. It's a little jarring, and it's an awful lot of signage.
Well, we're going to deal with that in a second. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right. Esperanza?
Yes, I was going to say the same thing Diane said. I find it jarring, and knowing that I'm very acquainted with that building, and it just doesn't fit within the residential character of the neighborhood either.
And Jonathan, where are you on the orange stripe?
You're muted. You're muted, Jonathan.
Sorry. I find it counterproductive. It's repels rather than attracts, so I don't think it should be there. Yeah.
Okay. So that needs to go away.
Have any of you guys seen the inside of the restaurant? How it ties into the inside of the restaurant?
We don't have purview on the inside of the restaurant. That's where you can have your flare of color. The board, we polled it. If you would like, we could take a vote, and then you'll have a definitive answer.
Sounds like you voted.
No, we polled. All right, so I'm going to make a motion through the board, or I'm going to have Chip do it. Chip, if you can make a motion to the board to not approve the orange exterior stripe.
Sure. I'd like to make a motion that the orange stripe on the bottom portion of the front facade of this building is not in keeping with the neighborhood, and we'd like it removed.
Okay, can I get a second, Diane?
Yes, second.
All right, all in favor, Jonathan?
Yes.
Esperanza?
Aye.
And Betsy, aye. Okay, so we're tabling this for the awning, the back awning, the spec sheet, and what needs to be done. Okay. Business sign, Rita Cantina, tax map number 300-4-2, 28 Maidstone Road, Maidstone Park Road in East Hampton. Chip.
This is a much easier situation. This application is to legitimize two signs already installed on the front facade of the building. Could we just bring the signs up? Okay, well, okay. How about some pictures of the building?
The next file.
If you want to see the
Let's go to
pictures
the
of the building,
pictures,
that's fine.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's what they want.
Or the pictures that Chip picked.
Yeah, my pictures.
If it helps, the ones that we just saw. So the big sign that was of issue.
Yeah, Mark, I'm going to go through all this. Through all this. Just let me do what I'm supposed to do here.
Let's leave that here. They're right there.
Okay, so this is good. So the sign on the right, the large one, I met with them several days ago, Mark and Eric. Eric agreed to remove that sign, food, cocktails, takeout. I went back today. He has removed that sign. The two signs that we're talking about now are the oval Rita sign and the Mexican sign by the front door that's on a bracket. So this application is to legitimize these two signs. The smaller one hangs perpendicular to the front of the building, is double-sided, and measures 16 by 29 inches square. That's 464 square inches. On the spec sheet the applicant supplied, one measurement says it's 16 by 34. The other one says it's 16 by 29. It is 16 by 29. Overall, two sides, it's 6.4 feet in total, this sign. The larger sign, the oval sign, flat and mounted on the front facade of the building, measures 60 inches long and 34 inches high, or 14.2 square feet. So if we add the two signs up, the one sign and then the two sides of the perpendicular sign, it's 20.6 square feet. I have no issue with either of these signs. The sign I mentioned has been removed, and there's
what about the lighting on that other sign?
Yeah,
What?
I was just going to ask about the lighting on this.
Okay, so the lighting, I had to go back and look at this again today. This is not really Christmas lights. They are sort of standard size light bulbs that are around this sign, and they go a little bit, I guess, up into the soffit of the building. And then there's 3 sets of sort of very small white spotlights on the front of the building, 1 over the sign, up in the soffit, and 2 by the front door.
Those naked bulb lights have to go away.
Yeah, they don't look like they're dark sky.
They're not dark sky. I mean, at first I thought they were Christmas lights, but they're really not Christmas lights.
Yeah.
So on the application, it says that there's 2 60-watt bulbs. So there's a spotlight underneath the soffit. Can we go back, Eric, to the building so we can take a look at this?
No, so you see it's right above Rita, and then there's 2 of these by the front door also.
Okay, can you
So
blow
there's
that up, Eric? Can you blow that up so we can see it?
Oh, I see. On either
Okay.
side.
So those are all night sky compliant fixtures?
Those are.
Those are safety lights required by the fire marshal
Right.
for
And
exit.
do I see like a string of lights above the door?
Yes, all along under the window.
It goes along right below the
And
soffit
along the
there.
stripe.
Not that it matters, and we hear what you're saying. It's 2 Jewish boys trying to do Christmas decorations.
Well, let me ask you, are they like party bulbs where they're not shielded like Christmas lights?
They're the same bulbs we use on the beach in Southampton. We don't use them in East Hampton. They're low. I think they're, if I recall right, they're 11 watts each, Edison bulbs.
Yeah.
We use them in our bistro lighting on beach parties. Same thing. It was our attempt at Christmas lighting.
Right.
They're
But
not
I don't
permanent.
think anybody has a problem with stringing Christmas lights, but Christmas lights usually have they're frosted or they're glazed or whatever so that they're not.
But Mark, aren't you closed? Well, your brother told me you're closed for the next several months, so why would you be stringing Christmas lights?
Well, we only made that closing decision recently, and the lights were up before that. So
Okay.
So you'll take all those string of lights down. Right?
Sure.
Okay. The other thing that came up when we were looking at this, and Eric, again, if you can please go back to the front facade of the building so I could see that hanging sign. Is it possible that this hanging sign is also hanging over the town right away?
no, that's
Yes.
on the. That's inside the building, unless the building's on the town right away. Oh, you mean extending out towards the street?
Yes.
Yeah.
It probably is.
It probably is.
And there wasn't a sign before you put that up, right?
No,
Michael didn't
it was an
have-
existing sign for all these years. We just changed the, what it said. It's actually on the same piece of wood that's been there.
David,
And
you're
so-
shaking your
and
head.
so
I
other
believe that
signs-
was there under Michael's,
Right.
under Belmare rather.
Well, maybe Belmar put it up.
I mean,
don't
Lennon would
remember.
have to make that interpretation. I don't have any indication that's been there and that you use the same piece of wood.
Well, regardless though, David, I mean, if they're changing it, it then removes the grandfathering or not. I don't know.
If it's,
Well, if it's in the right of way, it's in the right of way.
You can have it in, if it's the same piece of wood, they can keep it. If it is pre-existing, they can make changes to it in kind, but
Well, let me throw another monkey wrench into this. Let's say that Michael's didn't have this, right? And it doesn't go all the way back and it's not grandfathered in. And a few years ago, Belmar installed this, never got ARB approval. And so it's not a legal sign.
correct. It's not a legal sign.
So we need, I guess you'll do some digging around with the building department to find out all the
Yeah,
questions.
my sense is this is not a legal sign.
Yeah. So so how do we do this? Do we tell them it has to go away?
They could move it to another part of the building where it's on their property if they wanted to do that. But I think in its current location, they can't keep it there.
Well, what about that it was there before? Can we look and see?
Again,
That's what he just said.
Well, let me hear that again. Why can't I keep it if it was there before?
Because
on
it
your
may not
property.
have had ARB approval.
Well, it's not on your property.
Understood.
It's the right of way is the edge of the building. The building sits right on the property line.
Right.
Because your large oval sign doesn't fill up, well, a single-sided sign, you get what, 24, is it? Right? David, help me. Come on, I'm having
You get 20 and then 32, right?
What?
It's 20 and 32?
32 if it's a double-sided, so it's 20 square feet, right? So how large, in fact, is the Rita signs? So are you under 20 with both of them, Chip?
14.2 square feet.
Okay.
And that was looking at it as a rectangle, which it isn't as an oval, so it's probably less square footage than that.
Right.
It's
And then
13.
what I'm saying is, if you wanted to, you could come back to us or we can discuss it now, but I think we'd like to see a rendering on the building. Take the sign down and put it on that, the wall on the left side of the door. So It's not hanging off, it just becomes a single-sided sign and you balance it sort of with your oval.
Right.
Yeah, or maybe where they had that big menu sign, they could put it on that end of the building. It might be more visible.
Mhm.
Eric Miller, yeah, that would be up to you, indifferent where it goes on the front.
Is there a way to find out whether it was there when it was Michael's and that would make it grandfather, or there's no such thing as that?
It's irrelevant. It's not on their property. You can't grandfather something that's not on their property.
Understood.
Well, we could do one or two things. We could approve this application for only the Rita Cantina oval sign.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can come back to us. You have to remove it if you want to place that sign on. Oh, wait, go back to that fence with the sign.
That came down, Betsy.
That's down.
The second sign they removed.
Yeah, the fire marshal wouldn't let us do it.
You can come back to us and tell us where you want to place it. Give us a rendering or put it on the wall temporarily, and we could see. We could approve the sign where the location is. But until you know where you're going to put it, we can't approve it. Okay.
Yeah.
So in general, what I'm hearing is you're saying that in likelihood, you will approve it if we affix it to the building, but it's not approved hanging into the town right away.
Right.
Is that a correct
Right.
summary?
Is everybody in agreement with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Eric, maybe where the big food cocktail takeout sign came down. Would be a good place.
Correct. That would be less intrusive and probably more visible.
Do you want to commit to that today and we could approve it in that new location?
Eric, I'll leave that up to you.
Yes.
Yes, please, Betsy.
Okay. All right, let's do it. Then
So make a motion.
Resolution, and you can just do it, and then once it's all done, you'll come in once you have the resolution, the sign is moved, you'll come in for the paperwork for the C of O, we'll come out, inspect it, and boom, you're good.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay, go ahead, Chip.
I make a motion that we approve the Rita Cantina oval sign as built in the location that it's in. And then I also, that the applicant will remove the perpendicular coastal Mexican sign from the bracket hanging into the right-of-way and attach it to the building where the former food cocktail takeout sign was, and that will be in its place.
Okay, and then utilizing the signage, Chip, on this page, can you read into the record the exact size for the oval and the rectangle? So it's in the record, and then
Sure. The rectangle measures, the rectangle sign coastal Mexican measures 16 by 29 inches, or 464 square inches. And the Rita Cantina sign measures 60 inches by 34 inches, or about 14 square feet.
Right. Okay. And the square feet, I think instead of the total inches, it's 29 by 16 is 3.2 square feet. So that's how it would read in the resolution.
And then just so that we're clear on sizing and everything. So the oval is not really whatever size was it loses.
It's less, but I don't know how to calculate the dimensions.
I understand. Right. Just so that we're all
basically
clear on that.
how you measure is side to side and in the center, top to bottom. And that's your dimension.
As if it were a rectangle, but it's actually less square feet than that because it's an oval.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
All right. Well, good luck.
Thank you very much for your time.
Did we vote on that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Can I get a second on that, Esperanza?
Second.
All in favor, Diane?
Aye.
Jonathan?
Aye.
And Betsy, aye. Okay. Thank you, Esperanza.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me a moment.
What?
Right back.
Climbers Tree Care Specialist, tax map number 300-147-4-5.1, 200 Springs Fireplace Road.
Just so that how you measure side to side and in the center, top to bottom. And that's
Okay. So I guess Skylar's the caller. You need to mute your device, please.
All right, well, good luck.
Thank you.
I don't know if I got it.
Did we vote on that? Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. Can I get a second on that, Esperanza? Second.
There's a delay on this, Betsy. Sorry.
Okay. And Betsy, aye. Okay. Thank you, Esperanza.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you very much. Excuse me a moment. What?
How do we stop this, Matt, so we can move on with the meeting?
Climbers Tree Care Specialist, tax map number 3.
Can you mute her, Matt? Thank you. How do we get her? Should I call over there and tell her that
Hello.
she's on?
Somebody's just helloed.
Hello.
Oh, there you are. Skylar?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good.
Okay, Diane's going to read into the record what the application's for.
All right.
Okay.
The application, this is for basically a street sign on posts on the east side of Springs Fireplace Road, where there are many commercial buildings and various kinds of signs. There's two pictures. If we could see the pictures, it'll make it much clearer, because the application is a little inaccurate. What they are actually asking for is to keep the existing sign that is on the building, which there's a picture of, that one, which is 1 foot by 2.5 feet. So it's obviously single-sided. What they're proposing is a double-sided sign on black posts. And if you could show the next picture. Okay, to be placed exactly where this gentleman is standing. I think he's the owner of the business, and it will be in line with the sign that's across the road, which is a directory sign. And there is a drawing of the signage which mimics the one that's on the building. So this one equals 27 square feet where he's standing, and the other sign is 2.5 square feet. So it comes to 29.5 square feet total. The post sign is going to be on 10-foot posts, which are 4 feet in the ground. So it's going to be 6 feet, which is the height of the sign across the street. On the, they've checked the wrong things. The location of the sign on posts, yes. And only the existing sign, of course, is on the building. Is that clear?
Yes. Yeah. And there's no lights on the building?
There's no illumination whatsoever on anything. That's the sign that'll be on the posts.
Yeah.
I think it's quite nice.
Yeah. Anybody have any questions for Diane or for Skylar?
No, very nice.
Yeah, I think it's nice.
All right, let's go ahead and make a motion.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that that we approve this application as presented.
Did I get a second, Chip?
Second.
All in favor, Esperanza?
Aye.
Jonathan?
Aye.
And Betsy, aye. Okay, all right, Skylar, thank you. Good to go.
Thank you all. Happy holidays.
You too.
I'm just going to make one note on my record, okay? And the single-sided is what, it's 12 by 30, 2.5 square feet, right?
2.5 square feet, right?
Okay, fences, walls, and berms. Zachary Ziltev, Z-A-L-Z-L-A-T-E-V, Tax map number 300-24-4-4211 Sheepfold Lane, Springs, has been postponed to our next meeting, which would be on December 23rd due to conflict with travel. Louise Fisher and Philip Bruno, tax map number 300-20-5-9116 Old Westlake Drive in Montauk. And Matt, we're probably looking for somebody from land planning, Lori or Jean.
Okay, thank you so much for saying that. I was looking for a name, and now I got one.
Good. Happy to help.
Hello.
Okay.
Hey, Lori, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Okay, let me, I'm good, thanks. Let me just read into the record what this is all about. This is a residence that the front of the house faces Old Westlake Drive in Montauk, and the back of the house faces Lake Montauk. And they were in front of us for approval of a proposed 6-foot gate in their driveway a while, a few weeks, months ago. And we, at that point, thought that the old code that some water properties, the water is the front yard and the back, which is facing the street, is their backyard. But there was a change of code. And Lori, how did you find out about that, Lori? Because
unfortunately, we went to the building department to submit the building permit application.
Yeah.
And we're told, no, that's not the case. Here's the new code. And they handed it to us, but somehow it didn't end up in E-codes, so we weren't aware of it.
Yeah. And can you just tell us where this is, what section on this code that you submitted with the application? I'm just, I tried to find it and I couldn't.
You can't, I had it right in front of me. What did I do with it? Here. Yes, so it was adopted December 28th of 2020. And it is basically saying that.
Is it, what section is it on? Did you highlight it?
Oh, sorry. So it's the whole thing, because they define gate and pillar, and then they go on to talk about berms, and then we go.
Right. I thought maybe there was a section that's.
There is. So look at section 5, amendment B6.
Section 5, I'm just going to write this down so I have it. Section 5B as in Betsy, 6.
Correct, 6, yep. And if you want me, I'll read it to you.
Good.
Yeah.
The gate is a corresponding structure to a fence that meets all the requirements of paragraphs 1 through 5 above, as well as all of the following. The gate is constructed of metal or wood framing and either a minimum 2-inch square, black or green wire, filed fencing, or black and green wire, farm and field agricultural fencing. The gate is no more than 6 feet in height on a residential property in a yard that fronts.
No, this is the deer fence exemption. This has nothing to do with the water.
But it actually brings up, and it says, yeah, it does. The gate is no more than 6 feet in height on a residential property that borders in a yard that fronts, borders upon a public street, or otherwise no more than 8 feet in height. And if so basically, and that is placed no closer than 20 feet to the edge of the public or private road surface.
Yeah, but that doesn't say anything about it being on a waterfront, water back facing property. All right, whatever. I don't want to waste any more time.
But
so bottom line is they need approval for this regardless of whether they're on a lake or not.
Correct.
So anything above 4 feet needs ARB approval. So
it is on a public street, yes.
Right, okay. So I'm going to read into the record what this is for. This is for a cedar tongue and groove, 6-foot gate. Wait, I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong. Give me just 1 minute. Here we go. Wrong file. Okay. This was back in front of us in August, because this stamped rendering of the gate is marked August 16, 2020, so it was back in August. So anyway, this is for a 6-foot high gate. And Eric, if you can find the file where there's a sketch rendering of what the gate looks like from East Hampton Gate, it's going to be white wood cedar, white painted cedar, that is in height of 6 feet. And in the middle is a black grid that's metal, and it's going to be black. So the frame is white with white posts and the grid.
No. White wood.
Black metal. It says right there.
Yep. Okay.
Is it black?
Yes. It is black.
Okay. So that being said, my point to Lori that I wanted to make, to ask her to please let the homeowners know that even though at that point we didn't think that they needed ARB approval for a 6-foot gate, I was very concerned about a 6-foot gate being put on that property, because it has a gate and fencing that separates the driveway to the backyard. If you can go to my picture, Eric, back to that. And Old Westlake Drive is one of the most prettiest roads in Montauk. Most of the houses take up the east side of the street because their backyards face into the lake, but on the opposite side of the road to the west is not like 70-85% marsh and ponds. It's just beautiful. You know, there's reeds. The pond is big enough in the winter you can go skating. I mean, there's one of those, magical spots. So the road, Old Westlake Drive off of 27 or Montauk Highway, that goes then down to one of the main roads heading in, which would be Westlake Drive, heading into the harbor area. Old Westlake Drive is less than a mile long. It's like 0.89 of a mile. There's approximately 42 houses on the street, mostly on the, like I said, the east side, but there are some scattered in between the marshlands and the pond on the west side. So there's about 42 houses, and there's literally 3 gates on that entire street out of all those homes. And one is about 4 feet. However, it's up off of, it's kind of like set on a berm, so it appears higher. And then the 2 other houses that have like iron gates, and then there's one metal gate. These are most recently put in over the last couple of years, and I do not recall, since I've been the Montauk go-to person for ARB, that they have ever come before ARB for approval. So they're basically 2 illegal 6-foot or so higher gates. This house, from what I understand, did have a gate on it, and it had been removed before, so it's gone. And where the apron ends and the gravel begins is approximately 20 feet from the roadway, and they want to put up a gate. So when you look at it from the back, from the street, you also have this whole fencing with this like little arbor area. So to put up another gate to block the driveway to another gate that blocks the, the sort of the view from the road to the lake, I think it's inappropriate. And I am reluctant to approve anything over 4 feet in this neighborhood for all the reasons that I just said. Does anybody have any questions for Lori or want to make a comment?
I'd like to make a comment.
Okay.
As you can see, well, it was better in the last picture because you could see that there's a lot of heavy vegetation on either side. Now, when you measure off on the survey where this gate is going, it's actually 40 feet back from the road. I don't think it's going to be visible when you drive by. The vegetation comes all the way out almost to the edge of pavement.
Well, I measured from the roadway to the end of the whatever that is, the slate apron. That's 20 feet into where the gravel and then the driveway opens up. So how can that be another 20 feet in that they're going to put a gate?
Well, the way this reads, I'm looking at the survey for the gate to be.
I'm telling you, Lori, I was out there the other day. It's 20 feet.
Right, but so I'm looking at the survey, and the survey stated 7-2. And it shows the proposed gate on our property, okay? And that goes between the vegetation. And there we go. There we go. That location goes between the vegetation, and it is 40 feet back from the right-of-way. And the vegetation is almost out to the right-of-way on both sides.
Doesn't look great.
Anyway, I have a problem with the 6-foot gate on Old Westlake Drive, so I am not in favor of it. I'm going to poll the board. Diane?
Well, it seems like a very sensitive spot from what you've described. So why don't we just have a 5-foot gate?
Why don't we just have a 4-foot gate?
Yeah, 4-foot gate is good. Sorry.
Say that again? Jonathan, say that again?
Me? Yeah, I think you should have a 4-foot gate, but the gate that's proposed in the blue ink here, it's not 40 feet off the road.
I just scaled it off. It is.
Well, yeah, but if Betsy scaled off to the apron, the apron goes right back to where the gate is. So
no, it does not. No, it does not.
I'm not going to argue the point. I measured it from where the gravel starts to the roadway, and it's about 20 feet. Okay.
Yeah.
So, anyway, it's about the gate. There's enough room to put a gate. There's enough room to put a gate there, whether it's 20 feet or 40 feet. They have that gate and fencing along the back plane of the house. It's a gate and another gate. It's Old Westlake Drive. There's 2 illegal gates on that, or 2 or 3 illegal gates out of 42 homes, and it's going to end up starting a precedent, and I'm not voting for it. So I'm not the whole board. Esperanza.
I'm not in favor of it. I think it's overkill.
Okay. Chip, where'd you go?
Not in keeping.
I'm here. I'm not in favor of it either.
Okay. So Lori, we're going to deny this.
And we can go in to the building department with a 4-foot gate.
Excuse me?
We can go into the building department with a 4-foot gate.
Absolutely. Right. And they can have whatever design they'd like.
Well, actually, that's not what this new code section says. It seems to think that all gates need to match the deer fencing.
That is part of the deer fencing code. That's incorrect what you were reading. There's a deer fencing stipulation. There's all types of David, help me with this. There's all types of parameters that you must meet, and that code does not pertain to what this application is. So, okay. So it's denied. Do you have anything else on the agenda?
Nope, that's it for tonight.
All right, thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Wendy Reifler, tax map number 300-159-4-11.2, 3 Sycamore Road in East Hampton. And we're looking for either Wendy or Duncan.
I'm getting them both in right now.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm on. This is Duncan.
Hi, Duncan.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you guys. Just when my wife is in New York because her dad's in the hospital, and she was trying to manage being on this call with performing her good daughter duties. So I think she's going to be listening in, but she might be on a jitney or something. So I just wanted to make you aware of that, so you can just work with us a little bit.
Okay. All right, Diane, can you read into the record what this is for?
Yes, this is a application for a cedar tongue and groove fence, natural, at 117.8, 117 feet, 8 inches of a fence that faces Hands Creek Road. Now, if you see this Hands Creek Road, this house is on a cul-de-sac. And the red line, what you're looking at.
Excuse me 1 minute. Eric, can you blow that up for us, please? There you go. Okay, perfect. All right, Diane.
Okay. Now, they are asking for this fence to be right on Hams Creek Road on the other side of a scenic easement, which is a totally unacceptable idea. I think that Betsy has talked to
David.
Yes, and I have talked to the wife, and I told her that was improbable, impossible. Now, what you can't see on this survey is the house that is their neighbor. They have a 6-foot fence behind the scenic easement, which I have quite good pictures of, that is at 6 feet, nicely constructed. Can we see the pictures? There's 2 batches of pictures. Hello?
Well, we're looking for pictures. David, could you tell Duncan why he can't have any fencing on the scenic easement and why?
Betsy, like I said earlier, I don't have access to my email.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
My personal laptop, but the short answer is that Ann Glennon looked at this and said that the proposed location for the fencing on that side of the easement was no good. I'm happy to follow up with the applicant and provide Ann's response to them, via email later on. I just don't have access to that right this minute.
Right. So let me just say this, Duncan. So a scenic easement is a easement that is scenic. So if you were to put a fence up there, if we didn't have any codes in the town, that wouldn't be a scenic easement. So you can put your fence, your new fence, where the old fencing is, which is behind where the scenic easement starts. And you can have a 4-foot fence there, but you need ARB approval up to 6. So he's proposing a new 6-foot stockade fence. So Diane, you can go through the photos and all that.
Okay, let's go through the photos. Now, what you're looking at now.
I'll go through the photos. Can I just interject one thing before the board continues? This is Eric.
Thank you.
I can give you the exact code section in a second if I look it up, but you need a variance for any fence within 10 feet of a scenic easement.
Okay.
Wait, Eric, I saw that and I thought it was any structure, and the fence or gate doesn't include the 10-foot setback.
Okay, yeah, you know what? I believe you're correct. I'll double check it though. I think you're right.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, I think if we continue to look at the pictures, I think there's a solution here that's agreeable.
What are we looking at?
Okay, what you're looking at now, this is the turn into the cul-de-sac. And if you recall the survey, their property is behind this property on the corner. Go to the next picture, please. Okay, I think there's a close-up. Okay, what you're looking at now is, I'm standing on Hams Creek Road to take this picture. Okay, this ramshackle fence is the fence on their property that they want to replace. The fence next to it is 6 foot 8 inches, and those posts are about 6 more inches. So it's over 7 feet. Now there's another picture that shows a bigger view here of the fence to the left. Yes. Okay. No, go to the other one, the next one. Okay. This fence to the left is exactly 6 feet tall. It's the neighbor's fence, and it spans from what they want to the corner where the cul-de-sac is. I think if they just continue this line of this 6-foot fence constructed as it is, and at 6 feet, and continue that everywhere that is visible from Hams Creek Road, I would tend to accept that, because it's quite verdant, and you don't really see this fence. You begin to see their fence, and of course it would become much more obvious.
No.
But if they're willing to just continue their fence like this fence, I think at 6 feet on the other side, the opposite side of the scenic easement, I think that we should approve it.
Okay, so let me just ask a couple questions.
Yeah.
This higher panel, is that Duncan's property or is that his neighbor's property?
I believe that's Duncan's.
No, that's the neighbors.
That's the neighbor's.
That's not our fence. If you go back to the other picture, just because I think I can help out the conversation. If you go back to the one that shows both of them. Okay.
Very good.
So do you see the stockade fence on the right of that?
Mm-hmm.
That's our fence.
Right. So
And the reason there's a space there, just if you guys can humor me a little bit here, we're new to the area. And when we bought the house, in order to get the CO, and the sellers wanted to close without a CO, we wanted a CO. And so when the building inspector came in, they found that the fencing we had around the pool wasn't adequate among a bunch of other things. And I guess the custom in the market when you get to that circumstance is to do something that's stopgap and put this, a 4-foot wire fence that makes people happy for the CO so nobody will fall in the pool. And so when we moved in, and the reason that happened is because the fence where you can see that space is, that was more there was stockade fence there, but it was degraded and it wasn't going to work from a safety standpoint. So we had the broken pieces removed a few weeks ago. And as a temporary measure, we just put the wire fence that had been around the pool that was put in there to qualify for the CO. We put it there for safety purposes while we then tried to figure out what we could do on a more permanent basis.
Okay, all right, get it. All right. So the other thing is, before we get into this fencing on Hands Creek, around the side and back of the property is similar fencing to this stockade with the trellis on top, if we can find those pictures that Diane submitted. And they measure approximately 6'8". So by right, he can have a 6-foot fencing in that backyard area. But since it's 8 inches over, and he can have up to 8, we can approve, his 6'8" existing decorative fence in his backyard and side.
Okay. This is the backyard.
Right.
This is the backyard fence, and I think there's another picture too. Okay, well, this is that the important fence. Okay, so I misunderstood when I talked to your wife, Wendy.
Yeah.
I thought that this was your fence. So
No.
Now that the fence to the left, that is exactly 6 feet, and seems to sort of recede into the scenery.
Right. So there is a photograph that Duncan and Wendy submitted of an existing stockade fence somewhere along the line that they took the picture of. You want to see if you can
we sent that in with the application.
Yes, it's looking.
So I have no problem approving the existing fencing that's in the side and back of the property that's at 6'8" as is. And then approving a new fence to go where the existing fence along Hands Creek is. But to Diane's point, this is what they wanted, but Diane's saying if you take that top section and have the trellis similar to what the neighbor's is, which is also similar to what's in Duncan's backyard, it's more uniform and not as solid looking. Is that what you're saying, Diane?
Yes.
Yes.
I think if that were continued, and then it would leave that sort of unattractive hump in the middle, and I don't know what your relationship is with your neighbor. But it seems very unfortunate because if the 6-foot fence was just a continuous line, I think, when the new one weathered a little bit, it would just fade into the scenery because there's lots of bramble.
Well, I want to make a point to that. If that neighbor's fence is facing Hand Creek, right? Is it? Right?
Yes.
It's right next to, right? That can't be higher than 6 feet. So the area above 6 feet is illegal because you can't have anything higher than 6 feet facing a public street. So you could tell Duncan, your neighbor, that they're in potential for a code violation having anything higher than 6 feet facing the roadway. Okay? And maybe they can cut that down to match that other 6-foot panel. So then Duncan, since you have to buy a new fencing to replace the dilapidated one that runs along Hams Creek, would you be willing to do a 6-foot fence that looked like, that matches more in the design what you have in the back and the neighbor has on the side, where that one section, I guess it's at 5 feet, it would be more of a trellis for the top foot?
Well, I tell you what, how about, can we do this? I'm not familiar with this process. And I think if I apologize, we sent an application in. We didn't get great advice, but it was kind of suggested, hey, just go ask for it, see what happens. I think we made a mistake asking for a fence on the other side of the easement. I understand what you're getting at there. But I guess then, so what I did is this week is I came back and said, okay, we can't do, and the whole reason we wanted to do it is that when we're in the back garden, there is a lot of traffic on that road, and when we sit in our
We understand. We know it very well. Already. I told the board the reason why you wanted.
Okay. So, but it's noise.
You can't have it regardless, and you can't have anything higher than 6 feet. That's just bottom line.
Okay. Well, can you just humor me for a second, because I'm reading from the chapter 255 zoning, where it says fences and walls. And so I guess what's happening is you're denying the original application we gave you, and I understand that. And I frankly wish we hadn't set that in, because I just think it was a bit ill-informed, okay? But we're new, so just please bear with me with that.
Okay.
If I go to section C, height limits, and it says on point number 2, fences, gates, and pillars and posts and walls that shall not exceed 8 feet in height when located in yards that do not front the border of a public road, and shall not exceed 6 feet in height when located in the yards that border on a public street.
Right.
The Architectural Review Board.
Excuse me, that's what you have.
Yes, I know, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to read to you where the appropriate information that I'm looking at.
It doesn't matter. I'm sorry. I cannot continue to have people wait for you to argue something that we can't approve.
No. I would like to. Can I do a straw man proposal?
With this. I'm trying to work with him. He keeps bringing up all this stuff, and the board doesn't have the time. We have other people waiting. I don't want to continue this argument.
Duncan, we know our codes. We've been doing this for years. I think it's incongruous that you're reading to us what we already know.
Well,
I think he's trying to read the exemption where there's.
Yeah, that's what I would like to read. It says I can request.
I'll tell you right now, Duncan, that the board has to make a written finding that there's significant hardship because of noise or deers or animals, and your application is devoid of any indication that would qualify for that based on my
location.
And I just think that there's no evidence that shows that you're any more exposed to noise or to animals than anyone else in the surrounding community is, and so. Right.
That pertains to areas that are in commercial areas or industrial areas.
No, they can do the board can do up to 10, can do there's an exceptional circumstances that they can do.
But what I'm saying, if there's exceptional noise, this is.
Yeah, but they can also do it because of animals as well.
It says animals, noise, and light.
This is not what I want to do. I do not want to sit here.
I'm telling him that he doesn't qualify for it, Betsy. That's
fine.
It.
Move on.
So, Duncan, my point to you is Diane's suggestion was that you mirror the type of design fencing at 6 feet along Hams Creek. And you need to let us know if you want the solid one or do you want to try to mirror the other ones?
Well, I think presumably what I'd like to do in this case is, I think we would need to come back to you to think about that. Okay. But I think what I would like to do is in the very near term, I think what we may do is, if it's okay with you, is replace the broken down stockade fence that was there so that it's got the integrity. And we need to think about longer term if we want to spend that amount of money to raise it another 1.5 feet, which I don't really think solves our issue.
I don't understand what you're talking about. Raise what 1.5 feet? You have a 6-foot fence there now.
No, it's not 6 feet. It's not, our fence is not 6 feet. The neighbor's fence is 6 feet.
And what's the height of yours? The one that's
Well, the height of mine,
falling apart.
I measured it today, and it's generally sort of 4 feet, but there is an area near the neighbor where it comes out at like 5'3", and then it depends whether you measure it from the easement side or if you measure it from our side.
Okay.
For whatever reason, that's just the circumstance it is.
But Duncan, I believe, that you're going to replace that fence. That's the one that's part mesh and crumbling down and falling down. Right.
What I'd like to do is patch it while we think about if it's worth putting a whole new fence in. The one thing you can't see from that photo is that the neighbor's fence is much more visible from the road than ours because he doesn't.
I told you your neighbor's fence has nothing to do with this application.
Well, you just asked me to match the neighbor, didn't you?
All right.
Well,
no, I thought you were talking about the one to the south. All right. So,
no, I'm just what I'm.
Your question, please.
I think the fence should be 4 feet, and just figure that out and put a 4-foot fence in. That's what.
Well, he could. He doesn't have to come back to us. But that fencing that's there currently at 5 feet, right? I don't know if it ever had ARB approval. I don't know if the fencing in the back that's 6'8" has ARB approval. So I'm going to table this, and when you decide what you want to do, you'll come back, and then at that point, we're all familiar with your application, and David could have the building department do the digging work to see if you need approval on the rest of the fencing that you have on the property. Okay? So we'll table this.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I'm signing off, everybody.
Oh, good night, Diane. Thank you for
Good
hanging.
night, everybody. Thank you.
Night.
Steve Gordon, tax map number 300-113-1-2.3, 6 Old Pine Drive in East Hampton. We're looking for Ramon Chavez Martinez, possibly.
If there's another name to look for, the Ramon is not on the list, or in the waiting room, I should say. If there's another name or another phone number.
Maybe, well,
How about Halcon Gate? Anybody from Halcon Gate?
Not yet.
No, I see Jason and that's Sean Leonard. That's all I see.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm just going to move forward with this. Let me just move this one. Hi, Jude. Okay. This was an application before us for a gate, which is up Old Northwest Woods, and then there's a small little street with the cul-de-sac, Old Pine Drive. So it's, up, lower part of Northwest Woods. And it's, modest, but there's some nice houses. And we approved, if you can show Eric the rendering that they submitted. I took a picture of the light fixtures that they added to this gate that we approved, and they already, closed out their resolution and have a CO for the gate, but they put dark sky compliant lights on the posts. So when I was there, for some reason in my head, I didn't think to take a picture of the gate that was built because it was actually quite attractive. I only took of the lamps. So it was a 5-foot gate. And I wanted to show how nice this little 5-foot gate looked compared to like all these big 6-foot gates are out there. But you can see that there's lanterns there that they added onto it. So this is a modification. And I have 2 pictures. I want to show the type of lamps they are. So the light bulb is up under the black top canister. So it shines light down through the cylinder. And I asked for a spec sheet, and it is dark sky sensitive. So I have no problem approving this modification for these lanterns. Does anybody have any questions or do not agree with me?
Totally agree.
Okay, everybody okay? All right, good. So I'm going to make a motion to approve the application as presented with the new light fixtures on the 5-foot gate. Can I get a second, Chip?
Second.
All in favor, Esperanza? All in favor? Esperanza? Thank you. And Jonathan?
Aye.
Okay, great. Extension of time, Matthew Cantor, tax map number 200-2-3.1, 12 Beach Lane. And maybe we're looking for Sean Leonard?
Yep, one second, please.
This is for an extension of time. I'm going to excuse myself for 1 minute.
Where are the other ones?
Okay, Sean is in.
Okay, great. I guess while Betsy is away, I could just say to introduce the property. This is Beach Lane, number 12. It's a property that's within the agricultural overlay district, and it's also close to the historic landmark of the Conklin House in Wainscott. And directly across the street is the protected farmland of the Babinski farm. This is before us now for an extension of time. It has two resolutions, one dating to March 22nd, 2018, the second to March 12th, 2020. The first resolution from 2018 is for the construction of a two-story house at 5,677 square feet, two single-story garages at 576 square feet each, a pool house, single-story pool house at 144 square feet, and and that's it. And then the second resolution from 2020 is for a storage shed at 450 square feet. That's located toward the rear of the property, 330 feet from the road. I'm glad that you're here today, Sean, because there have been a lot of changes from what I can see to the design, in particular to materials. So we're hopefully going to discuss that with you. I know you're here also for a CO. I suppose what's the best way to proceed with regard to the extension of time? Should we just go ahead and proceed with that? Or do you want to discuss this all first?
Let's discuss everything before we go ahead and make any motions.
Okay. And just so to give you more history of the property, it originally had a modest residence and a freestanding garage and two small sheds that were possibly deemed historical, but everything ended up being demolished to develop this compound. I reviewed all of the original plans that were submitted that I believe pertain to the 2018 resolution. And I found several discrepancies. For instance, cedar shingle on the roof versus metal standing seam in some parts, clapboard being used instead of shingle, or vice versa. And I mean, all of those are not unacceptable design changes, but I want to point those out.
Excuse me for 1 second. Eric, can you pull up the photograph that Esperanza's took of the property, and particularly from the streetscape where there's two garages and the pergola? So while we're
thank you. So we can look at that. Thank you, Betsy. The largest that you immediately notice on this property, the largest modification that I would draw attention to is the pergola structure that is now erected between these two garages. That was not on any of the original elevations that I could see. And then finally, just all the fencing and gates that have been constructed. None of that came before ARB either. This is a photo. You can see the Conklin house there in the distance at the end of Beach Lane.
Can I bring up the application issue, Esperanza?
Please do, yes.
For some reason, and let's stay there, Eric. No, let's go back to that pergola photograph right there. Just let's leave that there for right now. Thank you. Originally, the applicant put in an application, and it could have been based on, the office saying that it was a historic district or whatever, but there's no historic district in Wainscott. And this was done on a historic district application. I think the fee is the same as an ag overlay, but for some reason there was a mistake, and this should have been an application for an ag overlay. So I just want to, do a little housekeeping. So if and when, but when they came back to add the shed 2 years later, that was on the ag overlay application. So what we'll do, just for housekeeping purposes, when we approve whatever we end up approving, we'll make sure that we fold the original application into the ag overlay application so that it's all on, the ag overlay application. Okay. I just wanted to clarify that. Okay. And the ag overlay is across the street. And behind them is that area that is towards the pond, and is ag overlay also behind 104 Main Street.
Eric can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is all within the agricultural overlay district as opposed to adjacent.
Adjacent, right. Is there a way to pull that? You know what? I have that. Hold on.
I know I have it somewhere as well.
Yeah, I'll look it up. I'm actually having trouble with my GIS, and I'm trying to call it up right now, but I'll check for you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyway, let's talk about the pergola, because it's going to be a conversation that we have to have.
So perhaps Sean could now speak about this.
Sure. So you're saying that the pergola was not on what we submitted?
No, I didn't see it anywhere.
For as long as I can remember, because I know when we submitted even for the building permit, it was on there. I thought we had it on there for that. So
Yeah, and I had a conversation with the builder, and he said that he had that as well. I mean, it's not, it's possible. I didn't get hard copies of this. I had a digital file, and I reviewed all of those plans on the computer, but not once did I see any reference to the pergola. I mean, there were also, like from the plans that I have from that file that is attached to the resolution from 2018, for instance, the garages originally had cupolas, correct? And those were eliminated. Yes. And then the carport that is adjacent to, right to the left on the left facade of the house, was a flat roof with like a railing around it on the perimeter. Now that has a cupola. It has a regular roof with a cupola. So again, I'm going by what I was able to review, and that's what I could see was all these different changes to, for instance, those two that I just referred to, and then the right side of the house that is the single story, I think it is, was originally supposed to be shingle, and now it's metal roof. And there are, the chimney was completely in a different place. There were two chimneys, now there's only one. I mean, I don't know if I'm referring to an incorrect plan, but that's what I had, what I received with the resolution.
So as far as, yes, I do remember the chimneys changing because they decided not to have a fireplace that was going to be in their living room, and instead they ended up with just a fireplace that was inside the house. So when they did the flues, we ended up removing the chimney on the one side and then just keeping it coming up through the roof ridge. That much I remembered. but like I said, I had thought when we originally submitted, and unfortunately, even on my record side, I can't seem to find the file, a copy of the file that was submitted to you, as to be able to show you that I had the pergola on it, but
we should have it. I think it's in our file here for the smart board. And just to note, Eric just did put the map, the tax map with the agricultural overlay district demarcated, and this is adjacent. It's tucked in between. So that whole row of Beach Lane houses on the west side are not within the ag district, but they are behind, and across the street is all ag.
Okay.
So the one thing I want to mention on the original resolution from 2018 listed, but that doesn't mean anything. It only says 2 garages, each single story. It doesn't say anything with the pergola, but then it does specify renderings and elevations, front elevation. So wouldn't those elevations show the pergola if that in fact was there? Do you have those elevations?
Yeah, could we look at, if Eric could pull up the from 2018? I believe Nora included this in the file, and I'm really hoping she did. Then we could refer directly to sheet A8, for instance, and I'm going to look too.
Or the front elevation A6, which is, faces east, which faces the farm and the street and Beach Lane.
I guess the discussion about this pergola is not only, if it didn't exist on the original submission, then it wasn't technically approved. But then beyond that, it's, I took photographs, and just I think the appreciation on my part is that, okay, good. Sorry, I won't continue with what I'm saying. I'd rather look at this.
If you can just make them bigger, Eric, I'm having a hard time seeing all this tonight.
So
you're saying that the chimney was eliminated?
Yes.
The one on the left side, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
There's a central chimney in the central part of the house now. So what you're looking at here is there's one on the right side that doesn't exist, and the one on the left single-story side, that doesn't exist either.
Well, I can't see because it's half screen. I can't, and anytime I try to enlarge this on my screen, it's not allowing me.
There you go.
So the one that you see on the left side, on the lower part of the page, what is a left elevation south, that right chimney, not the left, the right chimney, I apologize, was eliminated.
Okay, and let's keep scrolling through this, Eric, if we can find the elevations that show the front of the garages.
So technically it should be A8. So it should be the last one, I think.
Keep going. No.
It's after it was sort of like there. That's all I have to refer to.
And there wasn't an elevation from the front of these garages?
Showing both of them?
Yeah.
With the pergola? No.
Because it doesn't even show, I don't even see the 2 garage doors on these elevations.
Yes, it's on the left.
Yeah, but they don't look like that now. They're not wood, are they?
These are shingles. These are shingles and different doors, everything.
Yeah. Let's look at the existing pictures.
Exactly. That's what I was saying earlier. The only thing that's
That
accurate.
to me is night and day compared to what's there. I mean, I'm glad they didn't put the cupolas back on, but these are black painted doors or whatever color that is.
Yes, it's like a charcoal.
Sean,
Yes.
Right. And clapboard siding.
John, can I ask, is this the second owner of this project?
Excuse me?
Is this the second owner of the project, or is this?
No, this
first one?
Is the first owner.
All right.
And was this always supposed to be white?
Yes.
And the doors were on that elevation would have been white then also.
I don't remember.
Something is really just bothering me with this. I didn't love the dark doors when I pulled up. I felt the pergola was just really like overkill. There's something that out of character for the ag properties and the surrounding neighbors. It's a little bit too
much.
Formal,
overdeveloped.
too much to something,
Well, I mean, the garages right there on the street are a little odd, actually.
Well, the fact that if they would have all been white as opposed to this like sort of very bold color blocking, that's concerning. Because the board goes through the time and energy to go through all these elevations, what the materials are going to be, how this is all going to present in mass and scale to the area, to the neighborhood, to the ag overlay, and then all of a sudden all these different elements happen. Because I think the roof on the garages were supposed to be shingle as well, and now they're standing seam black metal roof or gray.
Where do we go?
Where are you on this? What's your gut on all this?
Well, if the pergola wasn't there and it was never approved, it shouldn't be there, period. I mean, people change colors on stuff, on houses all the time. I don't love the dark windows and sash and garage doors, but I mean, the pergola, if this was supposed to be a corridor looking at the house through these two garages, that has been mitigated by putting this pergola across. So in my mind, it's illegal.
Chip, I'm sorry. Thank you, Chip. Jonathan?
Oh, we're making a comment here?
Yep. Welcome back.
Welcome back. No, I just, I think it has a sense of chaos that is a problem in that area. But I don't know what to do with it. It's a little odd. Yeah.
Right. The other thing, Sean, is that we noticed that the light fixtures are not dark sky compliant that are on the interiors of the garage, as well as I believe there's one that I saw from the roadway. I didn't enter the property underneath the front porch. So those wherever you have fixtures, they're supposed to be dark sky compliant. I don't know if the fixtures were actually, the specs were requested. It doesn't seem like they were.
I didn't see anything. No.
Yeah, so you'll need to come back to us with new fixtures for the board to approve the design. They have to be dark sky compliant. So here's my feeling on this. There were a couple other things that I just want to bring up, and I'll let Esperanza and David talk about it, which were the fencing in the back by the shed, because I want you to understand like all of the issues that you'll need to address.
Okay.
Okay. So anything above 4 feet, fences, gates, you don't need ARB approval. Anything in the front above 4, you do. We can only approve up to 6. So if you ever decide to do any kind of fencing or, gates in the front, in the back by right, you have 6. Above 6 feet, you need ARB approval for any type of fencing, walls, gates, and berms.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you. So the second resolution, as I had mentioned before, was for this storage shed, but there was never any application or anything in the design originally submitted regarding all of these walls on either side. The one on the right is an access into the rear yard, but also encloses an outdoor shower. And the fencing on the left shields or encloses equipment, I think a generator or something like that. So the one on the right is, I believe let me see, it's at a maximum height of 88 inches. The one on the left is a maximum height of 82 inches. So both they exceed
Above
6 feet.
And in discussing this, they look sort of overpowering. Would you be willing to just bring them all down to 6 feet, and then you don't need ARB approval on them?
But the one that's on the right is an outdoor shower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got that.
But that was never approved by the board.
Okay.
Was that on your original plan? I don't recall seeing it on. We didn't get a new survey, or even I couldn't see it on the old
Right.
survey.
And the shed was approved recently, right? Last to 2020, but none of that fencing was approved. And there was no mention of an outdoor shower when we approved the shed. Is that correct, Esperanza?
No, there was not.
If we can make the fence on the left 6 foot, is it possible for us to come back to you for the one on the right because of being an outdoor shower?
Well, is the shower the whole section between the shed and that building?
It is.
It pretty much is.
Well, no one's 8 feet tall, Sean. So I mean, 6 feet would be suitable there. We don't have giants walking around Wayne-Style.
You would see my husband showering there for sure.
Well, his head.
If we would get it down to 7 feet for the one that's, I think it's a little above.
It's going to look like this.
Well, that's what it is right now. What the one on the one that's on the left is shorter than the one on the right.
Because the property slopes down, it looks like.
Well, they didn't finish the grading there, but that fence will be. We can make that fence 6 feet on the left, for sure.
Let me ask you a question, David. Wait, excuse me, David. Is there anything in the code with regards to outdoor showers that are above 6 feet that there's an allowance above the 6 feet that they need ARB approval for? But is there allowance because it's a shower? It's still a structure, right?
I don't know of any exception for outdoor showers, Betsy.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, like I said, there's plenty of people who are over 6 feet, so.
But it does look like a wall.
It does look like a wall, yes.
But it is 330 feet.
It's an ag overlay, though, and that's the problem, is that it's just a wall.
I see.
What if you were to enclose the shower so that it wasn't the whole space between the shed and that building, where you made it look like a real, outdoor shower that's a little enclosure, and then you could, open that whole thing up or put, a 6 foot, gate or even
lower. Something lower would be actually quite lovely.
Okay.
And is the solar panels included on the resolution?
No.
A lot of moving parts on this, and I don't know if, Sean, you're familiar with all the ins and outs with this. If we were to approve everything that differs from what was originally approved in the resolution, all these things that we're bringing up, you still would need to submit to the board as-built plans so that we would have, all the updated records. But there's so many parts here. I'm just wondering if we can somehow table this, give you a laundry list of what our concerns are and things that definitely have to change, which is anything over 6 feet on that fencing. And, maybe we can approve up to 8. So maybe if you don't make that outdoor shower, that whole space.
May I make a suggestion?
Excuse me for 1 minute, so I don't lose my train of thought. And the light fixtures also on that shed need to be dark sky compliant. I'm sorry, go ahead, Esperanza.
Well, I was just going to suggest that, this is before us for an extension of time. We can grant the extension of time and provide the applicant to, as you're requesting, basically, first give us an updated survey, and then, we go over all this laundry list of changes, and they need to come back on that survey. All that fencing is going to be demarcated. All of that has to come before us for approval if it's over 4 feet.
Right.
Which it is. So can we just do that?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I could make a motion.
Right. Was there anything that we missed?
There are a lot of other little details, but like you said, it substantially conforms in many regards, but there are, the pergola really stands out. The carport with the cupola, it stands out. And then all the fence, these walls.
Right. And then the lighting.
And the lighting.
So can I make an appointment to meet with you, Esperanza, and we can go over all of this?
Sure.
Yeah, we could do that for sure.
Maybe that's our best, and in this way.
Yeah, and what I would ask you also, if you can forward to us your plans that you say indicate the pergola,
or your more recent plan,
whatever you worked from, because Mr. Barrows indicated to me that the plans that he worked from had the pergola, so we should have that. And then go over everything based on
also
that.
Too, then you'd be able to see what date those plans are. So if they're after our resolution date, that should have come before us and asked for our approval. I wanted to throw something out. It might not be a bad idea to do some type of photorealistic rendering and have those front garage doors white with the pergola, just to see. And maybe if the doors aren't so black, white, that the pergola wouldn't feel. It's just something that the board could look at and entertain. Because I'm sort of fixated on those black doors. I just think
Betsy and Esperanza, when we want to see the plans that are on file with the building department?
We have them.
Well, we should have what they have, but apparently
the pergola doesn't appear.
Chip, we only have what was approved from 2008. So Esperanza used that, went out to the site, and then compared to what is currently there versus what we had. That's why we're going over all these things.
That's why I'm making the recommendation that if I can meet with Esperanza, maybe we can kind of go through this stuff and not waste.
So what we're going to do is we're going to make a motion to approve the extension of time, but we're going to just table that C of O application.
Yes. And let me ask you or David, are we right now doing that housekeeping with this extension of time to, because we're mentioning both resolutions, or does that not come
the only resolutions that need the extension of time is the 2018, which is
correct. No, you're right. Yes. Right. Sorry. Okay. So I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the application for an extension of time.
Right, for the 2018.
For the 2018 resolution, yes.
Can I get a second, Chip?
Second.
All in favor, Jonathan?
Sure, yes.
Okay, and Betsy, yes. Okay, so I'm going to jump over to issuance of certificate of occupancy. Matthew Cantor, tax map number 300-200-2-3.112 Beach Lane in Wainscott, Esperanza. If you could just, no, I'm going to table it. Okay, there you go. We don't have to make a motion, so it's tabled. Is that right, David?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Sean.
that's correct.
And then Esperanza, however you and Sean get together.
Yeah, we're connected by email already, so we can connect again. I don't know, whenever at your convenience, I'm available. Okay.
I'll send you an email tomorrow, and we can take it from there.
Okay. Thank
you so much, Sean.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Issuance of certificate of occupancy, Anthony Hallinger, tax map number 300-9-1-8.69 Wills Point Road in Montauk. There might be somebody on, and there may not.
I was just going to ask you, is Jason LaGarn a representative?
Yes,
I think
he
it's
is.
Lagerent.
That's him. Yep, that's him. Thank you.
That's him. Thank you. Okay, he's in.
Great, thanks. Just 1 second. Hi, Jason. Oh,
Hello?
Jason.
Yes, hi.
Hi. Sorry about last meeting back in October. Jason was trying to get on. He was up for C of O. And when I went out to do the site inspection, you know, the gate was fine, but the deer fencing along the front and the back, which, you know, we approved a while back at 6 feet, was not cut down. And we discovered that it was plastic deer fencing. And Esperanza said, well, how could we have approved plastic deer fencing? So Jason couldn't come through, but he heard all of our conversation. So he's like, I think he gets the Applicant of the Year award. So what he did is not only cut down, you know, the 7 to 8 foot fencing in the front and back, he changed it all out to wire deer fencing. So thank you for that.
Sure.
So I have no problems with anything on the property. So if anybody has any questions for me or for Jason, I'm going to move to make a motion to approve the application. We all okay? Oh, I have some pictures if you want to just throw up some.
Yeah, I had to convince him. He wanted to use what was there, but I was like, you know.
I'm sorry, what? Jason?
I had to do some convincing of the homeowner to get them to use the wire fencing instead of what
It's so
was
much safer and it's going to last so much longer.
Well, it's to code. Not
yeah, and it's the code. So if anything ever happens, you know, they want to go for a C of O, it won't be an issue.
Right. That's the old one. We cut the plastic off the bottom.
Right.
That's the original one from before so that's gone off the bottom.
Right. So there's the 6 foot sort of very open gate. And then I had some pictures from the other day that I took. It would be in probably not this file. Not that it matters. It's okay. All right. I'm going to make a motion to approve this application for a C of O, and I'd like to instruct staff to notify the building department that this is ready for a certificate of occupancy. Can I get a second on that, Jonathan?
Yes.
All in favor, Esperanza?
Aye.
Aye. And Chip?
Yes.
All right, Jason, thank you. Good to go.
Thank you so much, everyone.
All right. Thanks for doing that on the fencing. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. I want to keep the board happy, you know?
Thank you.
Have a good
We'll
night.
remember you kindly.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Okay. Stephen and Renee Selman, tax map number 300-39-6-23, 4 Camberley Road in Springs. Jonathan.
Yes, this is we've come to us obviously before. It's a corner of Underwood and Camberley, and we asked them to locate the fence that they had, the stockade fence, 8 feet back off the property line. So resolution was that we located 8 feet back from the property line with planting of arborvitaes, and we have photos up there between the fencing and the property line, fencing not to exceed 116 feet.
There you go.
There it is. It is set back. The arborvitaes are put in step forward, fore and aft, alternating.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe easier to see in another photograph, but that's it. And
if the fencing is 6, so they're probably 5-6 foot arborvitaes, and those things grow pretty tall.
Right, they're going to be tall. So I measured it out. It is 116 feet. So it's a. I think
vast improvement, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Great solution. Yep.
Yeah. All right. You did a good job. All right. So go ahead and make the motion.
Yeah. Great. BLED. Great. I'm happy with this. Something back further. Be nice for 4 feet.
Yeah, that was a good suggestion. Okay. So you need to make a motion to approve this and instruct the staff.
I move we approve this application for request for certificate of occupancy and instruct the staff to notify the building department that's ready for C of O.
And you'll instruct staff?
He said that.
I did that.
I went out the window for a second. All right, can I get a second on that, Esperanza?
It's that time of day.
I know.
Second.
Chip?
Yes.
All right, and Betsy, yes, great, thank you. John Collier, tax map number 300-73-5-1311 Saddle Lane has been postponed to January 13th, 2022. I believe, Julie, you got a memo on that from Chip, so that will go into that bin. Morty's Oyster Stand, tax map number 300-11-1-102167 Montauk Highway in Amagansett. I have one picture, or there's a couple pictures up. This is this was a application when Morty's took over Cyril's. We had approved new color, new sign, a new awning, and then they came back to us. When was this? They came back to us in June 2020 for a modification that they wanted to on the western thank you, that's it right there. On the western facing side, this is a picture I took this week. So this is winterized. The awning is gone. The green area with the planks of wood on top is the bar. And then that back white area is a winterized temporary, boarded up, because the bar has the back where they have all the, bottles and things. And then we approved like a little opening window that was the language is, the board approved the opening of a west wall above the bar to make open air pass through the interior and exterior dining room, all colors, trims, and match. So I remember seeing that window. So I obviously it's not visible in this photograph, but I'm going to make a motion to approve this application for a certificate of occupancy and advise the staff that it's ready for a certificate of occupancy. Can I get a second on that, Chip?
Yes.
And all in favor, Esperanza?
Aye.
And Jonathan?
Yes.
Okay, great. Matthew Cantor, we tabled. Treescape at East Hampton Condominium, Section 11A, or is that 11A? 300-118-1-67, 300-118-1-68 for 194 and 196 Treescape Drive in East Hampton. Chip, let me ask you this, because this is going to help us. Do you know if 194, if this is respectively, like the 67 on the tax map is 194 and the 68 is 196?
I don't know that, but I would assume that's right.
Okay. We can assume that for now, but when we go to make a motion, we're going to need to have staff, just identify that 194. What's the exact tax map number? That's
Betsy,
how
we're looking it up right now.
Okay, great.
So, okay, Matt, is Bob Timon on the line, the president of the Co-op Association?
Yes, I am.
Oh, great. Okay, great. So just to warn the board, this is a somewhat complicated application, so I'll try and make it as simple and clear as I can. So Treescape is a large 23-acre multi-unit condominium complex off Hands Creek Road. It was completed in the 70s. Within it are 3 different condo associations. This application is for one condo association, which comprises 2 clusters of townhomes on 2 cul-de-sacs, each having 3 buildings, which is 12 units. So there's 12 units in one that we're looking at, and then there's 12 at 194, and there's 12 units in 196. We approved renovating the facades, roofs, windows, doors, moldings of this unit back in 2019. Today, the first complex is done. It's this one that we're seeing here. It's number 194. It's complete, in my mind, ready for a C of O. The second cluster, which is 196, is still under renovation for a variety of the usual reasons, problems with contractors, delays, etc. The renovation at 194 is a vast improvement to what was there originally, and it presents well, and it's very tastefully done with nice attention to detail in every regard. The only item, so 194 is the one on the right, and 196 is the one on the left. The only inconsistency I can find in 194, which is the one that is complete, was that there is a horizontal board privacy fence screening some of the front entrances to the condos. And we asked that it be painted white. And in the end, they've painted it gray, which is a nice soft gray, the color of the condos themselves. So we have some other pictures. Do you want to run through the other pictures?
Yeah, let's check them out.
So this is a renovation completed on 194. There's the board fence on the right. You see that horizontal slat board fence. We had asked that it be painted white. They've ended up painting it gray. I think it's actually an improvement. It doesn't stand out so much. That's some more of the completed units. These light fixtures we thought were going to be an issue with. They were not specified in our 2019 resolution. I cannot find the tear sheet from 2019. We didn't specify dark sky compliant. My guess is these aren't dark sky compliant, but since it was from 2019, I think we just have to go with these.
I think the code says dark sky compliant anyway, whether we specify it or not.
Yeah, they do. And Eric can second that.
Even if it was approved in 2019 and we can't find the tear sheet that approved it?
Well, right. The only problem is that what they put up is not what we approved.
But we don't know what we approved because we can't find the tear sheet.
We only know that through the resolution that it was called a Brimfield Light aged iron outdoor wall, and the new spec sheet that they submitted with their application for the certificate of occupancy says that it's what I can't find it in it's like Emerson or something like that.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, well, let's come back to that. Let's go through the rest of the photos. Those are the windows redone, trim molding. This is what it originally looked like. So if you remember the first picture, go back a second, please.
There, yeah.
If you remember the first picture I showed you, that is the original unit, and then you saw what it looks like today. So vast improvement. The problem is in the resolution, it was treated as 194, and 196. We need to sever 194 today so we can grant them the CFO if we're inclined to do so. 196 will be completed sometime in the future. Bob, do you want to say a few words about the project?
Yeah, I mean, the upgrade in visually is incredible. But the lights, which seem to be a sticking point, were the original. I just took over on the board about 10 weeks ago. So I wasn't here at the beginning of the project. And the lights were installed. I don't even know if it was they were ordered by the contractor or what the case was, but they were installed and that's what we have. So the only mitigating thing and again, I don't know this process at all, is that they're all under significant soffits. And I don't know if that matters as far as dark sky compliant. But one of them is the front door has a 4-foot soffit, and the other ones have a 2-foot soffit right above it, but then another 2-foot soffit on the second story. I don't know if that helps at all.
Excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt. Eric, can we see one of the photographs of the light fixtures that Chip took so we can actually see? I think the issue is not only from a dark sky compliant, but it's sort of a, what can I say, like an aesthetic issue. It's like this naked light bulb, which.
Well, that's why it's not dark sky compliant. It's not shielded, right?
Right. And how many light fixtures are on the building?
Well, 12 units, Bob, 12 light fixtures?
There'd be 12 on all 3 buildings.
Right, but I mean,
sorry.
12 light fixtures in the complex that we're talking
24 in the whole complex. There'll be 8 on each building, front and back of each unit. So
24 are in the 194 address, 24 light fixtures.
Yes. Yes.
And they're all installed, correct?
They're all installed, yes.
Okay.
Well, I remember, and I'm going to ask our attorney for guidance with this one, and anybody else who wants to jump in with their opinion, because I'm not a dark sky compliant expert, other than I know that it's town code, and it's not like these were installed 4 years ago when we didn't have a dark sky compliant, because I don't know when it went into effect. You know, it's really on the onus of the property management to know what the codes are when they're, you know, building these, you know, or renovating these commercial properties or residential properties. So one time we had a similar situation, and it might have been on a gate. Somebody help me. And they put a film inside the clear glass, which mitigated the amount of light and reduced some, you know, if it's a 60 watt, they brought it down to 40 watt, or if it was 40, they brought it to 20, so that they weren't, you know, like really like big white fireballs at night.
Mm-hmm.
So David, is that legitimate? Is that legitimate to do?
Well, we did it at that application that you're talking about, and it was legitimate then. The issue,
but it was legitimate to the building department, correct?
yes, it was. It was absolutely legitimate to the building department.
Okay, good.
Obviously, the issue is that we have to. There's a level of trust that the owner isn't just going to remove the tint from inside of the box. But you know, if that's the case, potentially they could be in violation of ARB approval and have a code violation.
Well, right, a code violation, not even.
If they do that, but I think that's a good idea, Betsy.
And if I could just say, because just with the prior application of Beach Lane and those fixtures not being dark sky compliant, I was speaking to the electrician when I visited that property, and he said that it's kind of common practice that when they find out that they're not dark sky compliant, they do like a frosting on the glazing so that it actually may be more permanent than what you're saying about a film, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, glaze is different. This was like a tape that they put on the inside of it, but glaze would be great.
Yeah,
you could also have you could require a better light bulb. It's more of a candle tip light bulb. It's not a big white, you know, circle light bulb, but who's going to enforce that?
All right. So what I want to do is this. I want to have this bounce back to Robert. I'm going to table it and say for you to come back to us with your way to bring this, you know, code compliant. However, you can alter these existing fixtures with the light bulb suggestion, with the film or the frosting, and then we can give you, if we're in agreement, we can give you approval for 104. Okay, I mean 194.
Okay, and then I would want to change. Then I have to put a change in for 196 when that happens to make sure that those are.
Yeah, they're dark sky. Dark sky doesn't mean just going up. It means coming out in your face horizontally because the light spreads. It's in the code. So,
well, you haven't gotten to those light, Bob. You haven't gotten to those light fixtures yet, have you?
No. No, I'm just trying to think ahead and not have.
Well, let me ask you this: do you own all the other light fixtures that aren't on 196, or you haven't?
No, they haven't been purchased yet, and that's why I wanted to get this done before I purchased anything.
Right.
You know, if this was approved, I was going to get matching, so the whole place matched.
Don't do that.
But
you know, and the other thing you might want to do, since you only own the 8, instead of going through all that issue, it might even be better just to, you know, sort of.
Excellent.
Are there 8 or 24?
No, there's 24.
24.
There's 24.
No, but he doesn't own the 24.
Yes, he does. They're installed. They're on the buildings.
Oh, I thought he said there's only 8.
He said the electrician picked them out. The electrician should be responsible.
There's 8 on a building, and there's 3 buildings that are done.
Yeah.
The other 3 buildings are in process.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Bob, I saw that.
Why are there only 2 buildings in front of us if there's?
I didn't take pictures of all, bet you they repeat each other, the buildings there.
They're exact carbon copies, all of them.
So there's 2 buildings for 194, 2 buildings for.
No, there's 3 buildings for 194. Yeah.
And 3 for 196.
Okay. All right. So you know what?
Okay.
All right. So
Betsy, it's Eric. I was just going to say, if the gentleman wants to contact me at the planning department, I can help him pick out code compliant fixtures. I personally review almost all the administrative lighting permits, so I can help you find something that's code compliant.
Okay. And then you can come back to us and let us know what you want to do for 194, so that either you can, if you want to swap them out or you want to make alterations to them, that's okay.
I mean, the alterations might be as expensive as swapping them out. So we'll take a look and decide which way to go.
Right. And then this way, if it's going to be the same amount of money, you're going to want them all to be uniform with the other buildings as well.
Right. This way we can, yes, buy the same for the other.
And maybe they can, repurpose them somewhere in the basement or something, but not outside.
Good idea.
Okay.
You can
So
sell
when
them.
you're ready, when you're ready, come back and then we'll do the paperwork so that, we switch 194 from 196. But just to let you know that you only have 1 year left on this resolution. So if the 196 is going to drag past September of 2022, you're going to need an extension of time.
No, I'm going to need a lobotomy.
Well, enjoy the holidays first, and then there's always January for lobotomies.
Okay.
All right. Thanks very much, Robert.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you when you're back. Okay. So that's tabled. That's it. I'm going to make a motion to close the meeting. Can I get a second, Chip?
Second.
All in favor,
Hello?
Jonathan?
Aye.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Who's that?
Chris Arbia from New Sunshine.
Oh, did we miss somebody?
I got brought in, but I didn't hear my name.
Oh, we approved you already.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Have a great night.
What was that?
From the Sunshine Custom Builders. Chris?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, for up on
on Camberley and Sprague.
yeah, Campbell. Yeah, you're good to go. It looks really nice, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for all your help. Have a great
good.
holiday.
Thank you for being so willing to work with us. Okay, so let me start over. And on that note, I'm going to close the meeting for this for December 9th. Can I get a second, Esperanza?
A second.
All in favor, Jonathan?
Yes.
And Chip?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, David. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Julie.